Fox Sports Net presents a special edition of Northwest Sports Tonight, the WIAA 4A Football Championship pregame show.
Over a 30-hour period here at the Tacoma Dome, the state of Washington will have crowned 6 high school football champions. 5 have already claimed their titles, with just one more up for grabs in the 1999 WIAA Gridiron Classic. And the finale of the Classic, the 4A Championship showdown between two 12-1 clubs, the Richland Bombers and the Kentwood Conquerors. And hi everyone, I'm Tom Glasgow. Welcome to this special edition of Northwest Sports Tonight as we get you ready for live coverage at the bottom of the hour. Kentwood against Richland for the 4A Championship. Really should be a terrific ball game. Day one of this Gridiron Classic had 2 outstanding contests. We'll recap those games momentarily. 4 games on the agenda today. We're going to talk about those as well. Beginning with the 2A Championship game showdown, the Meridian Trojans taking on the East Valley of Yakima Red Devils. And we will get right to the action. The Meridian Trojans brought a perfect 11-0 record into the 2A title contest and never looked back. Quarterback Jeff Benham finds Jared Caruza for the game's first touchdown, 13-yard score. Benham does it himself for the Trojans' second touchdown, taking it in from 5 yards out. Meridian up 14-0. The last 4.5 minutes of the first would determine the game. Benham finds Eli Skesk for a 21-point lead. The Bellingham team would add a TD 26 seconds later. Then with less than a minute to go in the half, Benham finds Skesk again in the end zone as the Trojans take a 35-7 halftime lead. Benham passed for 247 yards in the first half alone. The third quarter was more of the same. This time, Benham goes back to Caruza. It's a 28-yard scoring strike and a 43-7 lead. Caruza would finish the game with 6 catches, 3 for touchdowns, 124 yards. 5 minutes later, it's Benham. To guess who? Caruza once again. Benham putting his name in the record book. 25 completions, 5 touchdown passes, 390 passing yards, all good for 2A title game records. Now Meridian also got it done on the ground. Matt Matheson scoring twice on the day, including the 6-yard run. It capped the scoring for the Trojans, gave them a 57-7 lead, and East Valley closed out the scoring on this nice pass play from Thomas Haggerty to Thomas Ostrander. The receiver took it in from 33 yards for the Red Devils' second score of the ball game, but it was all Meridian. A powerful performance in the championship game, 57-14, and just an outstanding day for quarterback Jeff Benham. So that's what happened in the 2A contest today. Not much of a contest at all. That was not the case last night, however, in the 2 championship contests that were played, B8 and 3A. And we will begin with what was an exciting B8 game. Touchy Indians pulled off the big comeback, taking the B8 championship contest. Quarterback Adam Sumter brought the Indians within 2 points. Then the Indians defense responding against Nia Bay. Tim Wagner hauling in the interception, returns it to midfield with less than 90 seconds to play, gives Touchy one last chance to repeat as state champs. Now look at the throw right here. Sumter to Tim Dickey as the Indians complete the 10-point comeback late in the fourth quarter. For the second straight season, the Touchy Indians post a perfect 12-0 record and claim the WIAA B8 state championship over Nia Bay. In the nightcap, the Sammamish Totems used a second-half surge to take the lead in the 3A championship contest. Chris Raftery scored his 5th TD of the night as the Totems scored 21 unanswered points. But Prosser, well, they had to come back on their mind. Starting at their own 39-yard line, Tally Enna and Lance Womack took charge, led the Mustangs down the field. The duo hooked up 4 times on the final drive, including this play. It's the game-winning touchdown with just 17 seconds left. Prosser wins a wild one by a score of 42-38. The victory clearly gives the Yakima Valley team an opening to claim that they are the team of the 90s 3 state championships in 5 title game appearances for Prosser. But Prosser and Sammamish both putting on a tremendous show in that 3A title contest. When we return to the Dome in Tacoma, we will give you an inside look at the teams that are going for the 4A championship tonight, the Kentwood Conquerors and the Richland Bombers. This special edition of Northwest Sports Tonight, the WIAA 4A Football Championship pregame show, is brought to you by NorthwestRecruiting.com and WashingtonPrep.com, providing the most in-depth news, online chats, message boards, expert analysis, and exclusive video highlights, powered by Rivals.com. And welcome back to the Tacoma Dome, where we are minutes away from the 6th and final championship contest in the WIAA 1999 Gridiron Classic. Richland against Kentwood. We're going to give you an up-close look right now at the Kentwood Conquerors. It's been an outstanding season for this ball club. 12-1 as they come in to this championship ball game. And we're going to give you the lowdown on this school located in Kent, an enrollment of over 1,600. Tom Ingles, the head coach. Look at their run in postseason play. Wins over Wilson, Kamiak, and top-ranked Capital in the semifinals, 26-7. Angie Arlotti has the lowdown on the Conquerors.
Get our best shot here, huh?
The 1999 Conquerors have an opportunity to do what their predecessors couldn't quite close on back in '88 and '89. Kentwood has been to the championship game, but has yet to come home with the title.
It means a lot to us. Since the beginning of the season, we've been wanting to come to the state finals, and so it means a lot to us. It's for a lot of people. It's a lot of people, but a lot of alumni. They've been here 88, 89. They both lost both times, and it's huge for us because of how hard we've worked this season.
The Conquerors have a luxury not often afforded at the high school level, a balanced attack on the ground and through the air.
Our receivers are great, fast, catch, you can do anything. Linemen, block and huge holes. It's all good. Our running backs so fast, and they can just pump it up the middle.
And we have 3 good running backs and a good quarterback, a good offensive line that's moving teams' defensive lines, and we got some good receivers.
I think that we probably would be passing the ball more. We have some really good outside receivers, but I'm trying not to make the quarterback win the game, you know, and we have some real good running backs, 3 or 4 that I think that could play for most anybody, and so we're trying to keep the ball in their hands.
On the other side of the ball, Kentwood has a knack for creating turnovers. It seems opponents end up completing more passes to the Conquerors' secondary than their own receivers.
Yeah, we try to make sure they don't pass anything deep. That's our main responsibility, and then we have secondary run for us, so we try to make sure they don't pass a lot. We're the defensive receivers. So.
They all run pretty well, and I think they're pretty good tacklers, and we're working real hard on coverage. We have not seen a whole lot of passing teams this year. A lot of wing T teams, and so I think this is going to be a real experience for us to get in and play against a passing team like Richland.
But if the Conquerors want to come away with their first state title, they'll have to make some adjustments from last week's game.
Stop fumbling, one thing. Get used to this atmosphere, and you got to play a full 4 quarters.
It's a very young group. Our offensive line is dominated by juniors, and a lot of skill guys are juniors, and we have a sophomore quarterback. So I think it's kind of a surprise a little bit, but then on the other hand, I think it's something that these guys work real hard, to get to, and hopefully they've got another game.
The downside of youth is the obvious inexperience. The upside is they don't have any preconceived notions of what they can or can't achieve. Angie Arlotti, Northwest Sports Tonight.
And Kentwood head coach Tom Ingles knows all about championship game experience at Liberty High School in Issaquah in 1988. That club won a state championship, so he is very familiar with what it takes to get it done in this type of situation. All right, the Richland Bombers coming across the Cascades to provide the opposition for the Kentwood Conquerors. We'll give you the lowdown on this Richland team. Like Kentwood, also 12-1 coming in, enrollment of over 1,200. The head coach, Lonnie Pearson, his story you will hear more of momentarily, but he is less than a month removed from cancer surgery. In the postseason, victories over Meade, Shadle Park. Last week in the semis, Bethel John Fazio has more on the Richland Bombers.
The Tacoma Dome is getting used to Eastern Washington sending Cinderella teams to the 4A state playoffs, but this year the Richland Bombers are instead being considered a powerhouse, and rightfully so. Richland racked up 12 wins this season, with its only loss coming at the hands of Walla Walla.
After the Walla Walla game, who would have thought it? We made some adjustments. The kids rededicated themselves to the program and working hard every day at practice.
The Bombers' last big push for a title came back in 1996 when they beat South Kitsap in the semis, only to fall in the finals to Curtis High School.
And I remember a few years back when I was sitting in the stands watching the Bombers win, beat South Kitsap, and now for us to be doing it, it's unbelievable, man. It feels great.
And they'd love to finish off this year's journey with a win in the final game, but the road to get there hasn't necessarily been an easy one.
Richland head coach Lonnie Pearson took a 3-week break from his team for medical reasons. But by the semifinal matchup with Bethel, Pearson was back, this time coaching from the press box. And even from this view, his team was looking better than ever.
It was a cancerous prostate that forced Pearson to hand over control of the team to the rest of his staff, a move he had complete confidence in.
I just really praise the assistant coaches again. Number one, they've done such a great job in my absence for 3 straight games, the last league game, Southridge, the first 2 playoffs to get us where we are. So I'm indebted to them, and I'm also appreciative of their ability to solve problems for me up there. You know, I get a lot of input, they get it done in a hurry, and it's a frustrating place to be in the box. So that went real well.
With him gone, it was like an inspiration for us, and we all just came through and just pulled together as an even closer family, and we just came together.
Pearson says this year's shot at the title is unlike any other.
Well, it's different, and it makes it unique, and it is special because of the things I've had to deal with and overcome, and so that is really neat. But they're all special in their own ways. You know, I've been to every playoff, involved in every playoff game in the school's history since '75 on, and I missed 2 this year, and that's the way that works. But I'm back, and I'm thankful to be back.
And with his team on the verge of winning its first state title in 18 years, you can bet the Richland players are thankful to have Coach Pearson back. Covering the Richland Bombers, I'm John Fazio for Northwest Sports Tonight.
Past champions in the 4A classification, the most recent winner a year ago, Pasco. Before that, Central Valley. Then you see the back-to-back titles, 95 and 96, put together by the Curtis Vikings. We're going to take a break. When we come back with a special edition of Northwest Sports Tonight, we're going to tell you about some of the best defensive football players in the state of Washington with Jeff Carr. Don't go anywhere.
This is Northwest Sports Tonight on Fox Sports Net.
We're about 15-20 minutes away from kickoff in the Tacoma Dome this evening. Richland taking on Kentwood, the 4A championship game. Todd Pickett and Chuck Nelson with a call this evening on Fox Sports Net as we continue our special pregame coverage, Northwest Sports Tonight, a Saturday edition. And joining us to talk about the best defensive high school players in the state of Washington, Jeff Carr, publisher of NorthwestRecruiting.com. We talked about the offensive guys last night, so we're going to give the defensive guys their due this evening, Jeff. And let's begin with the guys who really are the anchor on any defense, the guys up front, the defensive linemen.
Absolutely. These guys really make the difference in any team in college. Top kid there, Graham Lassie from Bellingham. Not a lot of people know about him, but great feet, long arms, keeps people away from him, really gets after the quarterback. Junior Coffin, great-looking kid from over on the peninsula. Plays linebacker in high school, most likely will be a rush defensive end in college. Justin Jackson, his father, many might know, is Michael Jackson, the former Husky and Seahawk, another very athletic rush end type kid. And Judd Anderson, just a very athletic 6'5", 260 kid who is basically a Mormon, and he's going to go on a mission 1 year after he commits, and he's looking at BYU, Washington, and Oregon. So great-looking kid, though.
All right, let's talk about some linebackers, that second tier on a defensive unit. And we have some names, Stevens and Tuiasosopo, we're going to get to in more detail. Let's talk about Tim Galloway and Matt Lingley first.
Tim Galloway, a real rugged kid. Father played in the CFL for 11 years. Great-looking linebacker from Auburn, middle linebacker type kid, really loves to hit. Matt Lingley, just a very impressive runner. As you see, 127 tackles. Great-looking kid, could either play inside or outside in college.
Larry Stevens out of Tacoma's Wilson High School, just a phenomenal athlete. We talk about him in terms of being a linebacker, but you were telling me he could almost pick his position. He's that good.
Absolutely. He could. He played safety, linebacker, wide receiver in high school. You know, he could be a wide receiver, he could be a tight end, but we project him out. He's already 6'4", 230. He's only going to get bigger and stronger. He'll probably end up being about a 250, 255-pound guy. Might remind a lot of, say, a Junior Seau or someone like that someday.
And as far as schools, Larry Stevens maybe has it narrowed down to Washington and Michigan?
Yeah, those two, and then he's also probably going to take a trip to Nebraska and to Oregon as well, but we really feel like his leaders right now are Michigan and Washington.
Well, Tuiasosopo is a name that has been well known around the Northwest for a long, long time. Manu Tuiasosopo, a former Seahawk. Marcus Tuiasosopo, quarterback of the Washington Huskies. And here's his little, and I use the term loosely, little brother Zach coming along to play some linebacker as well.
Absolutely. Zach's another great-looking kid, big hitter, rangy, moves real well, as you can see right here. Plays defensive end and fullback in high school this year. Had a real nice year. Great family. What can you say about them? Tina and Manu have turned out great kids. Leslie, the volleyball player at University of Washington, and their little brother Matt is going to be a star someday too.
Yeah, so Matt's still coming. Rick Neuheisel's probably already knocking on his door. Zach has made the commitment to the University of Washington Huskies. All right, let's turn our attention now to defensive backs across the state, and start with Grady Sizemore first of all.
Grady Sizemore from a great program in Everett Cascade High School. As you can see, 8 interceptions. Just has a great nose for the ball. Real rugged, physical kid. Great looking college-type body.
Latrell Williams, Eric Coleman, another talented young man, and we're going to take a closer look at Jimmy Newell from one of the elite programs in the Northwest, South Kitsap High School.
Jimmy's a great kid, great student, 3.7 grade point average, captain of the team, a real leader. Really smooth runner. The thing you love about him as a corner or safety is he runs forward just as well as he does backwards and changes direction real well. And I guess the best thing I could say about this kid is I would not be surprised if someday he's a captain by his junior year. Just a great leader. Not only does he know what he needs to do, but he knows what everyone else on the field needs to do as well.
That South Kitsap defense and also the offense playing quarterback for the Wolves. And as we said, if you can get the job done in that program, odds are you are going to have a nice collegiate career somewhere, and I believe Jimmy is also headed for the UW, correct?
Yeah, he was the first commitment to Rick Neuheisel this summer. He grew up a Husky fan, and just it was a lifelong dream for him to go there.
Jeff, as always, we appreciate your time. We got the offense last night, defense tonight. Don't have time for special teams. Maybe next time around. Jeff Carr, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Publisher of NorthwestRecruiting.com. We will continue our pregame coverage from the Tacoma Dome side of tonight's 4A championship ball game between Kentwood and Richland. Welcome back to this special edition, Northwest Sports Tonight from the Tacoma Dome, as we get ready for the 6th and final game of the 1999 Gridiron Classic. As you look at the roof of the Tacoma Dome, did you see those wooden beams? A little story for you. Before this dome was constructed, folks could come from anywhere and write their names on those beams before they were upstairs as part of the structure here in the Tacoma Dome. All kinds of Tacoma trivia for you tonight. We want to get back to the highlights of earlier action today here at the Tacoma Dome. As far as state championships are concerned, it was the 1A title. Okanagan taking on Kalama, a rematch of last year's game won by Kalama. But the Okanagan Bulldogs got on the board first in the 1A title game. We're going to roll that video, and you are going to see Brian Attridge score from 5 yards out. Okanagan leading a 7-0 at the half. Attridge would strike again late in the third quarter as he hauled in the short pass from Jordan Horner and then scooted up the sideline 79 yards. He goes the distance coast to coast. Attridge would turn out to be a one-man wrecking crew for the Bulldogs today as he put his team up 14-0 with just 1 quarter of action remaining. More Attridge? Yeah, you got it. He puts his club up 21-0 in the fourth with a 1-yard score, third touchdown of the game. Later in the quarter, Okanagan's main man sews it up with a nifty 10-yard scamper into the end zone. Brian Attridge accounting for 4 TDs and 180 yards of total offense. The Bulldogs defense completely manhandled Kalama today. The Chinooks had been averaging 59 points per game until they ran into a well-prepared Okanagan defense. The Bulldogs avenged last season's loss to Kalama in the 1A title contest, 28-0 shutout in the 99 game. So you know that had to feel very good. Brian Attridge, 28 points. Well, at least you give him the 24 on the 6 touchdowns, as Okanagan has that very impressive shutout victory. B11 championship game. It ended, about 45 minutes ago. The Mossy Rock Vikings taking on the Fighting Irish of DeSales. DeSales looking to become just the 3rd team in state history to three-peat as champions. After a costly Mossy Rock turnover, DeSales scores first when quarterback J.C. Biaggi finds Casey Richard in the end zone on the 16-yard completion. DeSales would later tack on a field goal, take a 10-0 lead. Mossy Rock would answer as quarterback Darren Bullock will drop back, pass, and find Jeremiah Wood, who in turn makes something happen as he gets downfield blocking. Eventually he will find the end zone to bring the Vikings within 3 points. A high-powered offense of the Fighting Irish came storming right back, though, on a 5-play, 77-yard drive. Once again, Biaggi hooking up with Richard on the scoring play. DeSales up 17-7. You know, B11 football, everyone plays both ways. Watch DeSales sophomore linebacker Brian Hill as he busts through the line and gets the sack. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Hall turns into a tight end, hauls in the reception from Biaggi, and rumbles 45 yards for the touchdown. Cap a 5-play, 96-yard drive that gives the Irish a 23-7 lead. Trailing by 16 points, Mossy Rock scored quickly to make it 23-15, and then tied the game when Jeremiah found open running room and scooted 22 yards for the touchdown to make it 23-23 at the half. In the third, Mossy Rock gets close on this great catch. Take a look at it. Ben Collies will haul it in, and then the Vikings offense punches it in from 1 yard out to take a 29-23 lead. But the Irish offense would get their team right back into it when Casey Richards takes the handoff. He will weave and bob his way for 45 yards and a touchdown after the PAT. DeSales up 30-29 in the third. More action coming your way as we take a look. Another scoring play for DeSales as they finally bust it open. Late get a little bit of breathing room and do in fact complete the three-peat in the B11 championship game. Not a lot of room, but enough as they win by 8, 37-29. Biaggi 11 of 19 passing, 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, really doing an outstanding job. Kentwood fans fired up as we approach kickoff. The 4A championship game. Their Conquerors taking on the Richland Bombers. We'll be back with more from Tacoma. This special edition of Northwest Sports Tonight, the WIAA 4A Football Championship pregame show, is brought to you by NorthwestRecruiting.com and WashingtonPrep.com, providing the most in-depth news, online chats, message boards, expert analysis, and exclusive video highlights, powered by Rivals.com. We are closing in, minutes away. Kickoff, the 4A championship game between Richland and Kentwood. Todd Pick and Chuck Nelson with all the action. Don't go anywhere because they'll be back with the opening kickoff from Tacoma.
It's all down to one final game at the Gridiron Classic. The Richland Bombers are looking to take another state championship home to the Tri-Cities, while the Kentwood Conquerors look to take their first trophy, the 4A title, on Fox Sports Net. The Richland Bombers are looking for their second Washington State Championship. Behind the passing of quarterback Adam Oakes and the running of junior running back Mike Richardson, the Bombers have scored nearly 34 points a game this season. Tonight, they'll take on one of the state's top defenses. The Kentwood Conquerors are back in the championship game. They've given up an average of just 8 points a game throughout the '99 season. Richland and Kentwood for the 4A title next. From the Tacoma Dome, Fox Sports Net brings you the final night of the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Gridiron Classic. A pair of 12-1 teams square off as the Richland Bombers and the Kentwood Conquerors meet for the 4A championships. The Bombers have just won the coin toss, and they're going to get the ball first in tonight's contest. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tacoma. I'm Todd Pickett, and thanks for joining us again on Fox Sports Net. We bring you a pair of teams who not only have identical records, they've really reached this championship game statistically in identical ways, with outstanding offenses and fairly stingy defenses. Take a look at some of the numbers from the 99 playoffs, and you see Richland at better than 36 a game on offense, 12 on defense, while Kentwood has slowed a little bit from its regular season scoring average, but they've given up just 8.5 points a game. Some pretty impressive numbers on both sides. Chuck Nelson, the Richland Bombers, really coming to this game with sort of a two-pronged offensive attack.
Well, they do a very good job of running a balanced offense. Adam Oakes is the quarterback. He's a great administrator and distributor of the football in that offense. He can run the ball when he has to and does so effectively. But mostly what he does is he runs an offense that doesn't fumble, doesn't turn it over, a very efficient job at quarterback. He's got a running back that's very good in Mike Richardson. He's only a junior, 30 carries for 121 yards in their semifinal win last week over Bethel. Over 1,500 yards for the season for Richardson. You see, between the two of them, they do a pretty good job of scoring for this Richland Bomber offense. 24 touchdowns for Oakes, 9 touchdowns for Richardson. That's a lot of points.
And Kentwood coach Tom Ingles says he just wants to make Richland earn their points tonight. Meanwhile, the Conquerors, they'd much rather keep the ball on the ground. They have 2 good running backs on this Kentwood attack.
Well, with Richland distributing the ball a lot, they do a lot of it on Kentwood's side as well, but they like to just beat you up a lot with Mike Carney. 6 foot, 240 pounds. He's heading for Arizona State to play football. He over 800 yards carrying the ball and does a great job blocking for their big numbers guy, running back John Gardenhire. He averages almost 9 yards a carry. He had over 1,000 yards last year as a sophomore, 1,421 yards this year. And again, 2 guys that really know how to put the ball in the end zone. They also do a good job distributing out to some speed guys. John Jones and Ryan Scott are some big play players on the outside for Kentwood on at wide receiver.
And Kentwood has gotten here with a sophomore quarterback. That's a little bit of a rarity as well. We will tell you more about that as the game progresses. One other guy to keep an eye on tonight for Kentwood is a very talented, make him a 4-dimensional threat really, and that's Ryan Scott. Wide receiver who runs back punts and kicks. He's also an outstanding defensive back. The young man's headed to Penn State in the fall. This was an interception last week against Capital. Conquerors and Bombers next. Fox Sports Net presents the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Gridiron Classic. Tonight's 4A football championship game is brought to you by Car Toys, the nation's largest independent car stereo and wireless phone dealer. Car Toys, a better way to go. By the Money Tree, your cash solution. And by NorthwestRecruiting.com and WashingtonPrep.com, providing in-depth news, online chats, message boards, expert analysis, and exclusive video highlights, powered by Rivals.com. As you can see, both teams out on the field being introduced to this crowd at the Tacoma Dome, wrapping up a second night of football. 5 championships have been decided. 1 more to go. Lonnie Pearson down on the sidelines, the head coach of Richland, and before the kickoff, we take you downstairs again to Tom Glasgow.
Todd, thank you. Lonnie Pearson, certainly no stranger to championship game experience. He has been in title contests as a coach 4 times, twice as an assistant. This is his 2nd trip as a head coach. Tom Ingles, the head coach for the Kentwood Conquerors, also knows what it's like to be here in a championship ball game. He led Liberty of Issaquah to the '88 title. So inexperience for the players in this situation, yes. For the head coaches, definitely not.
Thanks very much, Tom. And of course, Lonnie Pearson, Chuck, making a return to the sidelines tonight as well, and a bit of a comeback for him, diagnosed with prostate cancer during the season. He underwent surgery, missed 4 games, and has spent the last couple of weeks in the press box. He's got to be tickled to be back down on the sidelines, and what an inspiration it is for those young men tonight.
Well, he's got to be excited that he just gets a chance, that the season went long enough to give him the opportunity to get back down there. They talked a lot over the last month or so about staying together, playing to win, how football, keep it in perspective. It's a big picture kind of thing. Let's have a good time together, enjoy each other. They certainly have enjoyed lots of Friday nights and Saturday afternoons over the last couple of months, and it's got to be special for both for the players and for Lonnie Pearson to get a chance to see him on the sideline for that 1 more game.
In his 12th year as the head coach, the former defensive coordinator for the Richland coaching legend, J.D. Covington. We are about ready to get things started. Justin Hughes set to kick things off for the Kentwood Conquerors. They are in the white and black. Richland in the green and gold. The Bombers have David Hall as their deep man. The 4A championship game underway, and it's Jeff Stowe running back the kick for Richland. He'll be stopped short of the 20-yard line, dodged around the first tackler, and then was dropped by Ray Baumel. Adam Oakes, the starting quarterback for Richland. And you want to know one of the reasons why the Bombers have gotten to this championship game. Look at the difference between the playoffs and the regular season. He completed 40% of his passes in the regular season, 62% in the 4 playoff games, and equaled the yardage.
Yeah, the difference is that there's not that much difference. In only 4 games of playoff football, he equaled his productivity numbers of 9 regular seasons games. Did a great job, high percentage, lots of big yards. He's really matured and turned up his level of play.
Oakes looking to throw deep on the first play, some contact and incomplete. Was trying to find Jeff Stowe, who's his favorite target. Ray Baumel on the coverage for Kentwood. As we look at the offensive line for Richland, Ray, Strasser, Luxon, Hodgson, and Brooks. 5 seniors across the front for the Bombers. Michael Richardson at the running back position, Landon Kofensis, and yes, that's a second generation of Kofensis there. You saw Dovale, Stowe, and McGarrah, the wideouts. Bombers often will go without a tight end, and there again Adam Oakes, a 5'10", 168-pound senior. And a delay because the ball went incomplete, and they're trying to find the next ball. Nobody had a backup ball ready. The officials finally chase it down, and we're ready for second down.
Minor details.
Yeah, 1 play, 1 ball lost. You got a quick look there at our crew tonight. Clarence Linegang is our referee for tonight's game. Defensively for Kentwood, Mike Griffith, Carlton Johnson, Kevin McCarthy across the front, Hetherington, Carney, Wright, and Conwell. Jones, Curtis, Scott, and Bredengard, all second-year starters for Kentwood. Scott Cordell's our umpire, Ken Borby, the linesman, Ross Snow, the line judge, Craig Rawlstad, the back judge, and we're ready with second down. Richardson getting smothered on his first carry. Mike Carney, one of many two-way players we'll have tonight, leading away, and he likes to tackle as well as he likes to run.
Got the perfect build for an inside linebacker at 6 foot, 240 pounds. He's very light on his feet for a guy of that size. You see the ball on that line, no body's going by that line. Everybody's heading backwards, and that's because Mike Carney's pushing the pile that way.
Another guy who's a Pac-10 player, but he's headed out of the area.
Heading down for Arizona State, at least on the early commit. Signing date not officially until early February.
And the 3rd and long now for the Bombers. Oakes with time, throws it a little bit behind Stowe again. So Oakes, who had a string of 10 consecutive passes during last week's semifinal game, 10 consecutive completions that is, can't find the trigger on his first 2 attempts, and the Bombers will punt.
Kentwood has a very good defense. We talked about it a little bit in the open. They have not allowed more than 15 points in any single game this season. A lot of big-time players and big players for Kentwood on defense.
You saw Ryan Scott, he's back deep. Oakes doubles as the Richland punter. Tried to get Scott into the boundary, but he got around the contained man. Here you see why he is a threat whenever he can get his hands on the ball, and he runs it into Richland territory to the 45-yard line. Ryan Richardson wrapping him up there for the Bombers.
Scott's got 4 returns, combined kickoff and punt for touchdowns this season. He's a big kid, makes big plays.
Carl Baumel was going to be a backup this year. There were 2 seniors coming in. They both disappeared from the squad, lost to the team, and the sophomore won the job. He has improved his passing as the season has gone along. Running the option, pitches, and Gartenhire has absolutely nowhere to go. Bombers came to the corner in a hurry there, Chuck.
Trying to get outside. Bombers got some speed out there. Guys that can make plays.
Will Conwell, nephew of the Huskies Ernie, Howell, McCarthy, Ulrich, and Conovet across the front. Gardenhire and Carney in the backfield. Scott, Pettit, and Bonnell, and watch for John Jones, who comes in as well. Ray Bonnell, the senior, is the older brother of the quarterback, Carl Bonnell. Carl went clear over to the sidelines to get the play call from Tom Ingles and trots back to the huddle now on second down. Good hole off the right side in a hurry that time for Gardenhire, and then he was met by Brian Hodgson as we get a look at the starting lineup for the Richland Bomber defense. Across the front, Richardson, Fitzpatrick, Luxon, the Big Nine Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and Neal. Mitchell, Reed, and Hodgson at the linebackers. Artis, McGarrett, Kafensis, and Bohannon in the secondary. Both teams in third and long situations on their initial drives. Backside pressure on Bonnell. Gets it away and throws too tall, trying to find Ryan Scott. He was covered by Jeremy Bohannon.
And that backside pressure chasing Carl Bonnell. Josh Artis from the corner came on the crash. Kentwood fortunate enough to have called the play to roll away from the pressure. Bonnell would have got a little Artis right in the face.
Tom Ingles looking forward to having that young man as his quarterback and having him around for a couple more years. This is Brad Mayberry punting, different punter than was originally listed. His kick is going to bounce high. Was that touched? And did they down it? Yes, inside the one. The Richland man nearly touched the ball, but they'll down it inside the one. A good hustle play by the Conquerors there, and Richland will be backed up against its own goal line when we come back. The first quarter of the 4A championship game at the Dairy Farmers of Washington Gridiron Classic. And we welcome you back to the Tacoma Dome. A 2nd and 8 situation for Richland as Richardson went for a couple yards on first down. He carries again and finds a hole. Good pursuit and a speedy close on him that time, but he takes it out over the 20-yard line before William Conwell brings him down. Pretty good closing speed for the defender there at 6'5", 205.
Well, he's got those good genes. We mentioned the nephew of Ernie Conwell, the tight end for Washington, now St. Louis Rams. What a great job up front. Off your own goal line. 2 plays later, you're out at the 20. Great job of Richland of getting out of that blue paint and out well into the green.
You can call him Mike, you can call him Michael, you can call him Michael Ray, which is what's currently preferred, and you can call him tackled for a loss of yardage there. Carlton Johnson smacks him face up, and the Conqueror nose guard shot through the gap.
Like when you go to the zoo and it's feeding time for the big animals like the hippos and they throw the pumpkin out there. That was it right there. Carlton Johnson just swallowed Michael Ray Richardson.
Carlton, if you're watching this on tape, that was Chuck who said hippo, not me. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Just the swallowing aspect of it was the analogy.
You see the numbers for Richardson for the season, over 1,500 yards. They'll go to him again. Bombers not having luck with the passing attack on the first series, and so they keep it on the ground this time. Tim Wright leading the tacklers for Kentwood, the linebacker.
That field position will do that to you when you're starting at your own one. You run a couple plays and get a first, you're going to stick with that. Kentwood's up front guys have some size of their own. Brian Brooks, the big right tackle, at 290. 3 of the others at 235 plus. Then you throw Brian Hodgson into 188. He's the mutant.
Another 3rd and long. They fake the draw. Backside pressure, and Oakes goes down. Conwell again on the sack.
Yeah, great close. Just ran around Ryan Brooks.
He's got some speed.
That's some good quicks right there. As you mentioned, he's a big guy at 6'5", 205. You can see he just comes all the way around, even the back staying in, unable to give enough help. You can see both.
Yeah, Dovali with the help block right there.
Ryan Brooks and Ricardo Dovali unable to get William Conwell.
Oakes again trying to kick tightly into the boundary. This is John Jones, the other speedster for the Conquerors. He breaks away from one, but there's nowhere else to go. Good pursuit to knock him down. Ryan Richardson there again after Jeremy Bohannon had chased him wide. Jones, with a knee injury a week ago, saw very limited action in the victory over Capital.
There's a nice punt from Adam Oakes, too. 47 yards right into the boundary. Jones tried to take it all the way across the field. That's a long way to go. Field position, though, still in the favor of Kentwood.
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, don't miss NFL This Morning. Chris Myers, Jackie Slater, Chris Spielman, Marv Levy preview the day, followed by NFL Sunday on your local Fox station. That's NFL This Morning at 8 o'clock. Of course, a lot of experience amongst that group. Spielman and Slater, former players. Levy, the longtime coach, 11th winningest in NFL history. And Chris Myers. These guys know the NFL. NFL This Morning, tomorrow at 8, right here on Fox Sports Net. And we took an extra long time to read that because Kentwood jumped the gun before they could ever snap the ball. So they're being marched back 5 yards while you look at Marv Levy's smiling face. And it'll be a 1st and 15 now for the Conquerors. Richland's defense during the regular season ranked 2nd in the Big Nine. Gardenhire getting his first breakaway and gets a good chunk of it back. We can see why that young man's been a 1,000-yard rusher in each of the last 2 seasons. He gets through the hole in a hurry.
You can also see how you can average 8.6 yards per carry inside, bottled up, a nice bounce outside, and a nice stiff arm on linebacker Rance Reed. Good vision, good sideways move. Good job at getting the shoulders turned and heading the right way at the end. That's a nice gain on 1st and 15. Get it back to 2nd and manageable.
Pettit, the motion man. And this is Luke Hetherington, who's got pretty good wheels as well, as Coach says, and shows us why. So they're able to bring both young men in, and Hetherington averages nearly 7 a carry as well.
Yeah, both Gardenhire and Hetherington are juniors, and we'll be back. You also get a look right here of what Mike Carney can do. Watch the kick-out block from 45 in front. 2 guys, and Hetherington into the secondary and still hasn't been within 3 feet of a green shirt.
That's what you call blocking efficiency when you get 2 for 1.
Coupon.
It's his new nickname,
the coupon block.
Yeah. Coupon Carney. In Richland territory once again. Carney bowling through down near the 30-yard line before he's upended by Landon Kofensis.
Landed right on his Kofensis right there, too. But you saw the great block on the 1st down gaining play, and then you saw the inside power run of Mike Carney. Nice cross block there from Matt Howell, a senior left guard, pulling across. Kentwood is a big, physical, classic football type team.
2nd and short. They fake the dive and pitch again for Hetherington. 1st down near the 20-yard line of Richland.
Got such a great combination on Kentwood's offense of inside power with Carney and outside speed, both with Gardenhire and Hetherington. You can see again, these guys are 4 and 5 yards downfield before Richland is able to make contact.
This is not a grinded out running attack. This is an explosive rushing attack. They have scored under 26 points in just 1 game this year. That was their only loss as well. So they definitely put points on the board. Good pressure, and Bonnell sacked before he can make the pitch. Kevin Neal shooting through from the defensive end spot.
Going to run that option. It's penetration that will kill you. Neal gets upfield and gets inside. Also, no place to pitch the ball for Bonnell because of Josh Artis out covering on the pitch man. Kevin Neal, the nice 1st down loss. 6'4", 190.
But Carl keeps
junior.
running those shuttle sprints over to the sideline and back in this heat in the dome. He may be worn out before halftime. Never mind the 4th quarter. Kevin Jones carrying for the Conquerors, so they go even deeper in the list. Young man who's carried the ball now 30 times this season. Bohannon on the stop.
Just kind of say, go down the list. 1, 2, 3 guys. The blocked outfield from Scott.
Drives Bohannon back for a couple extra yards. So Good fundamentals, both the running back and the wide receiver, and he makes it a much better situation here on 3rd down now for the Conquerors.
Another underclassman as well. Jones only a sophomore.
Tom Ingles is going to have to rotate backs. They can be the message callers next year and save Bonnell from running. 3rd and 5, they look to throw. Jones out on the flat, a little bit of contact, no flag. Rance Reed defending for Richland, and some of the Conquerors thought that he had made a little bit of a hold, but no flag thrown on that one.
Just kind of some bumping on the way down, but you see right there that Carl Bonnell can throw it, but it's not what they want to do. Ideally, you get a look at the contact right there between Jones and Reed. It's kind of incidental. Everybody kind of bumping and grinding on their way down the field. Good no call.
That'll bring out Justin Hughes, the senior kicker, who looked pretty solid in warm-ups. Justin McKillop is the holder, this one from 35 yards out. Nearly blocked. He's got the distance and nails it. Hughes with the field goal, a 35-yarder, and Kentwood is on the board first. The Conquerors 3, the Bombers nothing. Back at the Tacoma Dome, Justin Hughes with a 35-yard field goal to put Kentwood on the board here in the first quarter, as the Conquerors have taken the early lead over the Richland Bombers. There again, a look at the young man, 5'8", 150-pound senior, and it was said in warm-ups he looked pretty strong, had good distance throughout his pregame warm-ups and made that one look pretty easy. Jeff Stowe having to chase after this one into the corner, and wisely gets away from it, lets it go into the end zone for the touchback. He thought a couple times about making the grab, but lets it go through, and the Bombers will have it at the 20-yard line. Tom Ingles' team with the early lead, and the first points ever for a Kentwood team in a championship game. As you see, back-to-back appearances in 88 and 89, but they were shut out by Ingram and Curtis in those two contests. So nice to get that one off their backs early. Now there's a rarity. You see the coach putting the phones on the defensive side of things, Chuck.
Been a big proponent of this defense, and it's one reason why they're so good.
Richardson carrying once again. And this is a case right here where you've got to tell your young men just to be a little bit patient as the Bombers try to find a way to get things going. And that's really what Tom Ingles stressed. He said they really wanted to take away the balance of Richland and make them earn everything they get. And Lonnie Pearson, as we said, a pretty good defensive coach himself, the former defensive coordinator for the Bombers, and trying to come up with some solutions here early on. Richardson again nearly broke that one, but an ankle tackle by Luke Hetherington bringing him down. The thing that's been interesting too is that we've really seen these teams, especially Kentwood tonight, put pressure on without doing a lot of blitzing, shooting through. They're just doing it in straight-up situations,
Well,
Chuck.
they've got some great athletes playing. They play that 5-2, and William Conwell pretty much on the line of scrimmage as an outside linebacker coming. He's got some tall, rangy type build, and he's got quick feet. Get around that corner in a hurry.
You can see him standing right there on the corner of the line, and Hetherington on the opposite corner. A little bit of motion now by Kafensis on this 3rd and short. Richardson puts his head down, should have enough for the first down. Carlton Johnson slid over to bring him down, but he's got just enough by about a half yard to get the Bombers another first.
Not a lot, but enough. Move the chains, 3 more plays for Lonnie Pearson and his Bomber offense.
Bombers getting the plays called by a former Bomber standout. Nate Holdren is the offensive coordinator. Went on to the University of Michigan and played football and baseball there for Richland.
He's got to be fired up then. The Kentwood fight song, same as the Ohio State fight song.
Yeah. Nice catch along the sidelines. A diving grab by Stowe. Oakes put that in about the one spot where he could. There was excellent coverage for Kentwood by Justin Brettengard, but a diving grab by Jeff Stowe.
And the appropriately named Bombers right here, just a quick drop and throw. He knows he's got one-on-one coverage. Throw it to the outside. Great job of getting to the football and then keeping his hands underneath it for Jeff Stowe. Averages almost 24 yards a catch. You can see why right there.
Another junior. He'll be catching the eyes of a few guys if he keeps making plays like that. Inside Kentwood territory for the first time, and Richardson trying to cut back. I think that's the thing we've noticed so far. He's having to do a lot of cutting back and not getting to the holes where he wants to go.
Well, that's because of the speed guys outside. William Conwell right there did a great job. The rule number one for those outside linebackers is get upfield and keep the play inside you. That time, Conwell got upfield, forced Richardson back inside. A.J. Mitz was there inside for Richland.
Couple of yards for Richardson.
Conwell only a junior right there. Carlton Johnson, the big guy, he's a senior.
We talked about some of the guys who've committed already, but there are a lot of outstanding juniors on both sides of the ball in this game. Oaks looking to throw again, and again trying to find Stowe. He can't get to it as that one was too far down the middle. Stowe running it down the seam route.
You had another step on Bredengard, just ball not on the same line.
Yeah, he turned the seam route into a circle route trying to get to that one. Oaks a week ago was 16 of 23 passing for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns, so not off to as good a start, but again against a very strong defensive unit in Kentwood.
That's some great playoff games. 5 for 7 with a couple of touchdowns a couple of weeks before that.
On 3rd and long again. With time as his backs pick up, looking for McGarrah. Intercepted, and there is Ryan Scott again. The taller man just out-jumped McGarrah for the ball. He'll be dropped at the 25-yard line. That was a pass that was up for grabs, and Scott at 6'3" had a lot more grabs than McGarrah at 5'7".
Oaks had so much time to throw that football that the receiver had so much time to run downfield. Oaks couldn't throw it that far. A little bit underthrown, and the much taller Scott was able to make the play as the ball was put back into play.
The interception ends the Richland drive and also ends the first quarter. Hughes field goal from 35 yards out, the only scoring, and after one, it's Kentwood, 3-0. First play of the second quarter, Kearney carrying around the left side as Kentwood gets things going again. We welcome you back to the 4A championship game from the Tacoma Dome. Kentwood leading Richland as we start the second quarter of play. Richland's last drive, the first time they'd gotten into Kentwood territory, and ending on the interception by that young man, Ryan Scott. Just made a commitment to Penn State University.
Likes wearing that black and white.
That Joe Pa mystique. Yeah, these are fancy uniforms compared to that. Nice keeper by a quarterback that time, and Bonnell gets wrapped up. Made a good decision turning the corner. Derek Mitchell in for Richland. There you can see him again, over and back.
He's going to wear out. He's a sophomore, young pup, light on his feet. Big 3rd down conversion, though. Kentwood has had the better of field position so far this evening. Would like to keep that.
Pettit, the motion man, on 3rd and short. Kearney really ran into the interference that time more than anything else, and he had his head down, was determined he was going to go to that hole and nowhere else.
Running in straight lines, 3rd and short. I'm not going to make a lot of moves. A great job at the point of attack.
Ryan
up front, Ryan Luxon and his big boys up front for Richland. A great job on a stocky, athletic young man.
Jeff Stowe and Eric McGarrah back deep. Brad Mayberry with the punt once again, and McGarrah, who is the wide receiver on the interception, runs this one, breaks a tackle, still skirts down the sidelines, breaks it from the punter, and he'll get wrapped up at the 30-yard line of Kentwood. Will Conwell again with the tackle. Tell you what, he may not have been able to out-jump Scott on the interception. That little guy can scoot. 47-yard return by McGarrah.
A nice punt and then a great return. McGarrah just got outside, got to the wall, and then just started breaking tackles. Good speed and good strength, just running through a couple of guys. Finally ran into a 2-point takedown from William Conwell. Conwell likes making tackles. He just doesn't like them making them right back at the old line of scrimmage on a punt.
4 wideouts to the right side. They throw, looking for the double pass, and an ill-advised attempt by McGarrah. They tried to break it right after the big play. Lined up 4, ran the fence, ran a little screen, and Stowe was the man down the sidelines. Kentwood smothered this one, Chuck.
Yeah, that's the old, we just made a big play, we've got the momentum, let's try to strike quickly. You see the backwards pass to McGarrah, looking for something to happen, but really couldn't get the ball in position. Then a really nice job right there from Todd Curtis, both to make the tackle and to get a hand on the football.
Yeah, McGarrah might have been smarter to turn that one upfield immediately. He had some decent blocks on it.
It goes actually as an incomplete pass, even though McGarrah was behind the line of scrimmage, because he threw it an incomplete pass. The first one was a lateral. It's just like a pitchback. Doesn't count as a completion. To start with, it's 2nd and 10.
Trips left and Stowe down to the bottom of your screen now as the Bombers show pass again. Stowe slant in, makes that grab. Good close by John Jones. Stowe very close to the first down, but should be about a half-yard short. And of course that always sets up a little post corner route later on in that one-on-one situation. Coming up at halftime of tonight's 4A championship game, we'll talk to the executive director of the WIAA, Mike Colbreeze. Get you caught up on everything that's taken place in the 99 Gridiron Classic and give you the numbers and highlights from our first half of play, which right now has Kentwood leading Richland by a 3-0 score. Keeper for the first down by Oaks. Well, he took a shot from behind as well as he was propped up. Bombers inside the red zone for the first time tonight.
And field position so important in high school football because these young guys are going to make mistakes, and if you can shorten the field, you don't have as many opportunities to make mistakes. That great punt return from McGarrah has Richland in position to get the good first down on the 3rd and short. Now they need to capitalize on the opportunity.
Looking again for Stowe, tipped and he couldn't hang on. Jones was there on the coverage, and that one got deflected away. They like that little quick slant in.
Well, you've got Stowe at 6'4" against John Jones at 5'7". You got 9 inches on the guy, and Stowe's obviously got some wheels too. You try to get the ball to him. You see a nice job. If you're not going to get to the quarterback for the sack, get your hands up in the air. I think Michael Griffith got a nick on that one.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with that height mismatch. They don't go ahead and fade him down the sideline. Now they run Stowe to the opposite side against Bredengard. Oaks with time, throws to the boundary. Good catch there by McGarrah. He's been the spark plug so far for the Bombers. I think they're going to spot him just short of the first down. And there is a flag on the play.
Like inside in the holding zone. That's too bad. That was a nice timing route. Oaks rolling out. McGarrah just running the out route at the first down marker in front of Jones. Todd, you talked about why not run the fade with the height advantage. These defenders' corners are playing well off the receivers, lining up 10 or so yards back. It makes it more difficult to run the fade when the corner is way back, but it makes it easier to run that out in front of him, just like McGarrah did right there.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm just saying on Stowe, rather than run that quick slant, Jones closes so tight on it. Go ahead and fade him and just let him run that alley-oop. You can even lob it in the corner with that one-on-one with that height advantage.
That's a big penalty right there, too. That holding penalty. Instead of 3rd and a half yard, you're back at 2nd and 20.
Looking for Stowe, and there it is, post corner. Nice coverage. No, the flag's going to get thrown by Bredengard. Had a little bit of brush and then wrapped him up just enough. Looked as though he'd made a nice play getting around Stowe, but I'll bet that backhand was pulling a little bit more than we could see from up here.
Well, there's a situation, too, where Oaks throws the ball to the corner. You can see that left hand, the right hand made the play, the left hand around the waist. Stowe didn't have the opportunity to really go up and get that ball because Bredengerd was holding him down.
And from the 2nd and 20 after that penalty, it'll be a first down now for the Bombers.
One penalty back, one penalty forward. So instead of having that 1/3 and half a yard at the 8, they're going to have a first down at the 13.
Tom Ingles saying, "Sir, I vehemently dispute your throwing the flag on that play." It's translated for your approval.
Well, he'll see the replay. I'm sure VCRs are running. When he sees the replay, he might calm down a little bit.
And the senior DB getting flagged on that one. It's the Bombers with a new set of downs. Richardson on the toss. Kofensis the lead block for him, and Richardson will get down nearly to the 5-yard line. Spun down there by A.J. Mitz. We talked about the kick-out block of Kearney earlier. Landed Kofensis doing the same on this one.
You've got to have a fullback that makes plays, gets people out of the way. Watch Kofensis with the kick-out right there on William Conwell, who again is concerned with keeping the play inside. Those tailbacks aren't going to get 1,400, 1,500 yards in a season without guys making things happen and giving up their yards. And Landon Kofensis got almost 800 yards total offense for the season. You see Richardson putting up a nice average yards per right there.
And 62 already midway through the 2nd quarter. Trips to the left for the Bombers on 2nd and short. It's Richardson trying to fight for a little extra yardage. And it should be enough for a 1st and goal for Richland. He doesn't mind getting the tough yards either.
Run inside is 5'11", 172 pounds. Mitz there at 250, number 62, the defender for Kentwood. We talked to Todd about Richland trying to stay patient and doing things. They've been behind before. They trailed at the half last week in the semi game, being behind 3-0 early. Is certainly nothing to get them out of their comfort zone.
It's not even halftime yet.
You got Stowe split right on Jones again.
Oakes tried to turn the corner, now dumps to Kofensis, and it actually will be a loss of yardage on the completion. Oakes is still down on the ground after he took a shot in the backfield. Now he pops himself back up. He's lying, all of a sudden kicked both feet and jumped to his feet.
See, this is just a pick play right there. The fake inside. Stowe had run across the middle to pick off the inside linebackers. It worked, but Kofensis has got to run the route at least somewhere downfield. Everything worked just perfectly. Kofensis just cut it a little bit short.
Got the completion, but it's a loss of yardage on the play.
The efficiency ratio is getting affected while the percentage of completions is going up.
Time called as the Bombers come to the line of scrimmage. Timeout called by Kentwood on 2nd and goal. So Tom Ingles going to take a minute, give his defense a breather, and also talk strategy with him on this goal line situation. Midway through the 2nd quarter, the Richland Bombers looking to move ahead. We welcome you back to the Tacoma Dome. 2nd and goal situation for the Richland Bombers. Rance Reed in the backfield now for Richland, so the Bombers changing up. And Reed the ball carrier. Close, but stopped short. Conwell shaken up on the play for Kentwood. He comes out of the pile limping a little bit.
Richland trying to spread the field. Trips right, or trips left, excuse me. 3 guys left, 1 guy right. There's not supposed to be very many defenders in the middle. You can see the Luke Hetherington with penetration, and then just a wall at the goal line for Kentwood. They got some big boys back there. Carlton Johnson, nose tackle at 295. McCarthy and Griffith both at 200 plus inside.
The nose of the ball just outside the goal line. Reed, the single running back, dives in right side. Touchdown, Richland.
Watch the right guard right here. Brian Hodgson blocks down. You can see that Luxon, Hodgson, and Brooks get it done inside on that right side. And Rance Reed at 2:05 and only 5/8's got a little bit of leverage on his own.
Ricardo Dovali on to attempt. Kafensis is the holder and adds the extra point. So following the fine punt return by Eric Magera, the Bombers are able to drive it down the field, and they capitalize on the 1-yard run.
You see just Reed just straight ahead. Great block down right there from Ryan Books, big number 77. Just caved it in. And that's what gets the hands in the air from the officials and the Richland fans. Not quite that cold here in the dome. Elma.
He was afraid of a little northern exposure. So after all the talk of the other running backs, it's Rance Reed who takes it in for the score and gives the Bombers the 7-3 lead. Adam Oakes and crew on the sidelines, out on top for the first time. And Dovali will come out now to get set to kick off for the Bombers. John Jones, Ryan Scott back deep again for the Kentwood Conquerors. Interesting alignment on this kick coverage team, double guys to the outsides. Dovali with a liner, it'll get all the way back to the back, and a reverse here now by the Conquerors. Covered well by Richland as Kevin Jones will carry it out over the 25-yard line. The Conquerors go to the trick bag a little bit. The Sun City $1 Million Golf Challenge. Sergio Garcia, Colin Montgomery, Ernie Els among those on the list as they vie for $1 million. Final round coverage will start tomorrow at 1 on Fox Sports Net. 1999 British Open champion Paul Lawrie, 1999 Masters champ Jose Maria Olafable also among those expected to play. The final round tomorrow at 1 on Fox Sports Net. Bonnell met solidly again. Richland really doing a good job of preventing the quarterback from making a pitch ever.
But the best way to stop the option is to stop the dive, stop the inside stuff. That time Bonnell kind of faked the dive and it was a follow me type option.
Joey Chacon on the tackle. The Bombers with a player shaken up down on the field, and bad news for them because it is their outstanding defender Ryan Luxon, as we mentioned earlier, the Big 9 Defensive Player of the Year, who is also the starting center for the Bombers.
Two-way guy, outstanding two-way guy, senior leader. Hate to see that. Well, this could be like the Prosser game last night, where about every 3 plays a Prosser player was down, and they ultimately all came back and played. And I like to say that adrenaline is an amazing healing agent. You hope this is one where you can get it up and shake it off.
Bombers going just 30 yards after that punt return by Magera, and running a lot of clock time on that 9-play drive as we see Luxon up. Favoring his left leg a little bit and asking for some help now. So if that young man stops and asks for some help, that's not good. You can see he's trying to avoid putting weight on that left foot now as Lonnie Pearson went out to check on his defender.
Those cameras out of here.
Luxon will get a breather for the time being. And Bonnell trying to complete his first pass through the fingers of Ryan Scott. And Bonnell appears to be shaken up in the backfield after that play. Now it's Gardenhire actually who was in to block. And he's hobbling off to the side, trying to shake it off and stay in the ball game. And he's asking for a substitute now. So Luxon being attended to on one sideline, and now Gardenhire, the outstanding running back, will have to go off the other direction for Kentwood.
It's kind of like chess. You know, you give one up for yours, and then you got to take one away from the other guys.
I think it's more like a recycling program. They're trying to get them back in again.
One in, one out.
Carney coming in along with Hetherington on 3rd and long for the Conquerors. Bonnell rolling out again, severely overthrows his intended receiver, brother Ray. Good call, though, to get him again rolling out and avoiding pressure, Chuck.
Keep people out of his face, give him vision downfield. Could see where he wanted to throw it, just couldn't quite throw it there. Certainly no lack of communication skills between the two of them. You got to figure they've played catch a time or two in the backyard. Talk about two guys on the same page.
He's going over there and says, Mom says you should throw it lower to me. Brad Mayberry on to punt again for the Conquerors. Trying to, he drills a beautiful high kick. Magera back again. He had the good return last time. He's trying to get to the sideline again. Not going to be so fortunate. Look out. I think that's Conwell again. No. Another big man down on the coverage. John Conovad, a 6'6", 225 junior, helping to turn him back inside. A 43-yard punt that time by Brad Mayberry. Loss of 2 on the return. Richland with the ball. The Bombers lead it in the second quarter. Five trophies have been presented this weekend at the Tacoma Dome. The 6th and final up for grabs right now as Richland takes over the ball once again. The Bombers with it at their own 28-yard line, leading here in the first half.
Joey Strasser, the new center for Ryan Luxon.
Slant route underthrown, trying to find Stowe again. Bredengard covering for Kentwood. And the east side of the state taking home the bragging rights this year, regardless of what happens in this final game. But east side winning 4 out of the 5 matchups so far. Meridian with a victory in the Class 2A game. We'll recap those scores and highlights for you during the rest of the evening. Batted up for grabs, and picked off. No, dropped. Well, I thought he had that and rolled to earth safely that time. Tim Wright appeared to wrap it away, but could not hang on.
Too bad he couldn't fair catch it. Thing was in the air a long time. That ball does draw a crowd, doesn't it? Again, if you're not going to get to the quarterback, put some pressure, get your hands up in the air, the ball up in the air. Big pile. Nice job by Stowe to come in and make sure Wright couldn't get the interception. 3rd and long, though, now for Richland.
And Oaks, who's had a very effective playoffs passing, struggling. He's under some pressure now and finds Kafentzis open. That'll be enough for the first down at the 44-yard line. He stretches it out. Ryan Scott making the tackle there.
Good job again of getting the quarterback away from those big guys inside. Get him out where he can see what's going on down the field. Oaks only 5'10". Roll him out, throw it to landed Kafentzis, who's a very good all-around type player. Blocks well, runs well, catches well.
15-yard pickup on the play.
I agree with you. Good call, too, just giving him clearer vision than those quick slants he's been trying to throw against the tall corners on the line.
If you're gonna drop back a ways, you better roll him out. If you're gonna keep him in, it better be a 3-step drop.
Now he's looking long for Stowe. Covered there. Could not tuck it away. John Jones there just enough. And Stowe tried to make one of those little fingertip reverse grabs and couldn't pull it in.
Had to pull it in a hurry. Ball thrown just a little bit too wide. But they're certainly not afraid to go down the field. Certainly not afraid to throw it at John Jones either. You see, this time they run the play action and a deep drop. It's kind of a one-man route. I'm going to drop back and throw it as far as I can. I just throw it a little bit too far sideways. Almost a great catch from Stowe, trying to pull it in a hurry, keep the feet down at the same time.
Look to him, now throw back inside and complete that one to Dovali. His first catch of the night, but for short yardage.
Nice job there by Adam Oaks, looking over to the right, seeing if my #1 guy is open. No, he's not. Jones really jumped that quick slant route that time. Came back to the left, found the second read inside, got a nice gain on the 2nd and 10.
Chuck, down on the Richland sideline, they're continuing to attend to Luxon's knee. They've got ice on it and wrapped. I don't think the situation looks very good for that young man right now. To the outside, Magera spins away, dives, and gets the first down for the Bombers. Jones and Scott there along with Carney. And let's find out some more downstairs with Tom Glasgow.
Todd, the initial diagnosis on Ryan Luxon is a torn knee ligament. And obviously, if that diagnosis is correct, his evening is over. He said he felt a pop, so a serious knee injury, the left knee for Ryan Luxon.
Thanks very much, Tom. Bombers with a first down at the Kentwood 44-yard line. Defensive sliding to the left side. Richardson has some blockers, tucks it back inside. I thought he might try to turn the corner right there, but he's close to first down yardage, gain a 9+ on that one.
A great job of accelerating too. Kafensis in motion, then led up field, had the kick out block on strong safety Todd Curtis. Richardson took it up inside, and Kentwood takes another defensive timeout, second one of the quarter.
Try to stop the momentum here, and of course they don't carry over, so they'll try and keep the Bombers from putting up any more points on the board. Little emotional lift there from the timeout. Michael Richardson with a good carry on that last one, and Tom Ingles will again give his defensive breather inside the somewhat warm Tacoma Dome. Richland trying to put another scoring drive on the board before the break.
Second down, 1 yard to go to the 35.
Little over 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. Richland with a second and short. And they're looking to go long again. For Stowe, he's having to turn and adjust, thrown the wrong way as far as he was concerned. John Jones on the coverage that time as Stowe looked one way. The ball went over the other shoulder.
Well, that was the attempt at the post corner route right there, but Jones was in great position when Stowe tried to turn the post into a corner. He turned into Jones. Nice job by the senior defender. John Jones actually had his third school now in 4 years. He was a freshman starter at Franklin High School, started for a couple years at Jefferson. Don't think Kentwood had to have him on their team now. 3rd and inches and an easy carry there for Oaks for the first down.
Bombers still with all of their timeouts, as they'll have it at the Kentwood 31-yard line. Clock started back up again after the chains are moved. Magera will come out to the near side this time. Hall and Duvali also at the wide receiver spots for the Bombers. Oaks taking a long time this time at the line of scrimmage. Richardson, good play that time, sliding down. Ryan Scott met him head on for little or no gain.
Ryan Scott making big plays on offense and on defense. The Oaks checked into the short side run there, moved Kafensis over to that side to get numbers on that side, and number 80 is the one that made the play. Nice fill.
Bombers content to take their time right now, with still a pretty good chunk of real estate between them and the goal line. Oaks looking long, now throws underneath for Kafensis, and he'll get plenty of that real estate back in a hurry. It'll be a 1st and goal for Richland. One of the keys to success last week in their victory, Chuck, was throwing those underneath routes and taking what was given to him. Perfect example right there with Kafensis.
Well, when you run that play action and you've got a running game inside that they have to respect, get that play fake right there. They've got to stay home a little bit. Roll out, just Kafensis is right there in front. Not a difficult throw.
Kafensis with 2 touchdown receptions in the second half last week in the victory over Bethel, including the game winner in the 4th quarter. And now timeout is called once again by Kentwood. They use their final timeout here in the last minute of the first half of play.
We talked about Richland not in any hurry, too. The one thing they weren't going to do was give Kentwood the ball. They would have been content just to run the clock out, even if they weren't been able to get enough yards or get a touchdown. And Tom Ingles trying to think two things. One is stop these guys. The other, try to get the ball back before the half. Richland had all their timeouts. They weren't in any hurry. They knew they'd be able to stop the clock when they needed to.
And don't forget, when our first half wraps up, the executive director of the WIAA, Mike Colbreeze, is sprinting down field side even as we speak, getting in position to talk again with Tom Glasgow. We'll tell you about the other 5 games in the 1999 Dairy Farmers of Washington Gridiron Classic, and we'll bring you first half stats and highlights from the WIAA 4A championship game. Final minute of play here in the first half. Defenses have been the key. The two offenses high scoring, but so far a first half of just 10 points scored. The Bombers trying to raise that total now. Richardson back in the lineup along with Kafensis. It's Kafensis carrying this time down to about the 3-yard line. The Bombers will use one of their timeouts. John Conobat picking himself off from the bottom of the pack. Another good-sized young man and a junior. I guess they ran out of helmet stickers, so they gave him a paint stripe.
Gotta start putting them down his shoulders or something. There's a lot of...
Weeknights at 7 o'clock. It's Northwest Sports Tonight. From the preps to the pros, when you want to know what's going on in the region, colleges, NBAs, the prep performer in the state of Washington, a featured high school athlete every Wednesday night, and so much more. It all comes your way on Northwest Sports Tonight, weeknights at 7 here on Fox Sports Net. A little quiet on that Kentwood sideline right now as the Conquerors, we mentioned, in the regular season gave up 7.9 points a game. They've given up a total of 34 points in 4 playoff games. So seeing 2 scores against them is something new in many games for this Kentwood team.
So they haven't given up more than 15 in any single game, looking at 14 and a half.
But the Bombers aren't there yet. Richardson in motion. Kafensis left side, he dives short. Lonnie Pearson looking at the clock. His players aren't sure what he wants them to do. Are they going to call timeout or not? They're standing, and now they finally will call timeout with 22 seconds left. So maybe electing there to go ahead and use a little bit of clock should they not be able to punch it in, just to make sure there's nothing left for Kentwood.
Well, they know they're going to run their 4th down play and run the clock out if it gets in the end zone or kick a field goal, but they're not going to give any time to Kentwood. They're also running inside pretty well, or trying to run inside on this 1st and goal series here with some offensive lineman changes. Saw Ryan Luxon out, Joey Strasser in for him. Got big Kai Jones in at left tackle.
Lonnie Pearson talking with his players. It's been a busy weekend for the guys who keep track of the record books. They've had to do a lot of rewriting. Casey Richard in the game just before this one with 36 carries for the DeSales Fighting Irish as they win their 3rd straight title, and carrying the ball 36 times. In the 1A game earlier today, 133 receiving yards for Brian Attridge. Jeff Benham with 25 completions and 5 touchdowns. The Meridian Trojans with 57 points in the 2A game. And then last night, as you saw, Rafferty with 5 scores and Taliena passing for 4 as Prosser edged Sammamish. Now the scoreboard says 4th down. The sticks say 3rd. It is only 3rd. The scoreboard made a mistake, and that one's stacked up short, so it'll be 4th down. And again, Richland waiting for a minute. Now they use their final timeout.
Well, they're going to have to take the time to decide what to do. Ball right on the goal line. Just try to run the sneak wedge in there.
Rance Reed there again, the wedge buster dove a couple times before. Let's watch that 3rd down play again.
Just inside guys trying to get low. Look at the defensive lineman. Just make a pile, make a pile. Trying to reach it in.
Folks have just ducked under that collision, he'd been able to take it over easily. So
sometimes it's best for the quarterback to almost take the ball 1,001 and then go. Give time for that pile to settle to the ground instead of just running into it.
Yeah, anytime they've had that short yardage situation with him out in the middle of the field, he's picked up good yardage each time. So
get down that goal line, and those splits, offensive splits, get kind of ankle to ankle. The defenders are on all fours, just going to bury and make a pile. And Richland says, I think we can make 6 inches when we have to.
They'll bring 3 receivers into the pattern, force Kentwood to loosen up just a little bit. Big play here for the Conqueror defense, 4th and inches. Kafensis diving, touchdown. Young man whose dad and uncles were a part of Richland football, as well as playing at the University of Hawaii, and Landon Kafensis gets the score.
If they're going to go low, let's go high. Conwell got the penetration, but couldn't get to the legs soon enough to hold Kafensis on the ground. And the 4th down roll of the dice comes up good.
Landon the holder, Ricardo Duvali with the extra point. And Richland out to a 14-3 lead.
Talked about on 2nd, 3rd down, the piles inside. Everybody going low right there, and Kafensis up over the top. A couple of big touchdowns last week via the reception route. Nice one there to put the 2nd touchdown of the night up for the Bombers.
And capping an impressive drive as well for Richland. Keep in mind again, as we said, with this Kentwood defense, they allowed double-figure points defensively in only 5 games this season, with a high of 15 points. They've given up 14 here in the first half to Richland.
Richland no stranger to scoring points, though. You saw that average of almost 34 points per game, and they've
36 in the playoffs.
Been real consistent. Yeah, playoff games have been over 41, 3 of the 4 playoff games.
Duvali waiting to kick off. Jones and Scott deep again for Kentwood. And again, the knuckler grabbed by an up man. That's Dane Bollinger. And he'll be dropped just outside the 30-yard line with time for 1 play for Kentwood.
4 seconds remaining in the half. Conquerors 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line.
Well, much as we saw last night, one team has been doing it all on the ground thus far, and that's the Kentwood Conquerors. They trail right now as we're just about to head into the locker room at halftime. Kentwood will split Jason Pettit along with Ryan Scott. Now Pettit the motion man. Richland playing with 3 guys 40 yards off the ball. Under pressure, a little screen dump off. Gardenhire trying to find some room to cut back, and he'll be spilled by Kevin Neal to end the first half of play. Justin Hughes with a 35-yard field goal got Kentwood on the board first, but that young man, Landon Kafensis, scoring on a 1-yard run, as did Rance Reed. Both of those touchdown runs coming in the 2nd quarter of play, and giving the Richland Bombers, who are in their 4th championship game in search of their 2nd state title, gives the Bombers a 14-3 lead at halftime over the Kentwood Conquerors, as Richland tries to bring the state championship trophy back to the Big 9 conference for the 2nd year in a row. Pasco, of course, winning this championship game last year. And Richland leading here at the half by a 14-3 score over Kentwood, which is in the title game for the first time in 10 years. And the Conquerors still looking to get their first state championship trophy.
Well, last year when Pasco went in, Richland certainly not a threat. Only 3-6 last year, but 16 starters back from last year's Richland Bomber team of Again, they only won 3 games last year, but they got a lot better. They're doing a great job, obviously, in this season.
We're waiting to talk with Richland head coach Lonnie Pearson, who apparently does a 5-minute local radio show before he's allowed to leave the field at halftime. And Tom Glasgow is standing by.
And then on 2nd down on our 3rd series, we ran the option to the right. On 3rd down,
well, we finally have him clear now, and Lonnie Pearson getting in position with him now. Let's go down to Tom Glasgow.
Todd, thanks a lot. Coach, first of all, how's it feel to be back on the sidelines?
Oh, it's just super. It's kind of miraculous. You know, we had to win for it to happen and get to this point, and it did, and I give all the credit to those young men playing the game tonight.
Outstanding defense being played by both clubs, but you get that nice drive late to get a little breathing room.
Well, we have, and you know, we're running the ball a little bit. We're starting to pick that up some, but we got to continue to throw the ball. I tell you what, Kentwood looks a little tired out there. I don't know if my perception's off, but we need to keep pounding them and then working them hard.
Quick comment, your main message to your players in the locker room at halftime will be?
Well, you know, we got to reach down and play extra hard for Ryan Luxon, who probably will not come back. He's the heart of our offense, heart of our defense, number 51, and he probably won't be back. So there's some guys that's got to rise up and get the job done and just stay consistent, relax, and play like we've been playing all the way through.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good to have you back on the sideline.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Lonnie Pearson, his club, with a halftime lead. Todd?
Thanks very much, Tom, and we appreciate you standing by there to grab Lonnie Pearson for us. His Bombers are on top at the half, 14-3. Welcome back to the Tacoma Dome. Halftime with Richland leading Kentwood by a score of 14-3. The Conquerors got the early field goal from Hughes. We're playing pretty good defense, but Richland settled down. And Chuck, they really got the balanced offense they were looking for in the first half.
What Richland does very well is they spread the ball around. Adam Oakes does a great job of keeping everybody involved. Richardson's had the ball. You've seen Stowe on the outside. McGar's made big plays. Contrast that with Kentwood. Gardenhire's only got 3 carries. Kearney's only got 3 carries, and they've only completed 1 pass. Richland's done what they do very well, and Kentwood hasn't had the chance to do what they can do.
As we mentioned, Kentwood got on the board first on the field goal by Hughes, and the Conquerors played good defense early.
They have a couple of big play guys that haven't been getting it done on offense, haven't had the chance, but they're doing it on defense. Ryan Scott comes up with a big interception, ran one back in the semis all the way for a touchdown, unable to do anything with it there.
Maybe the turnaround play of the half right here.
Well, as I said, Kentwood couldn't do anything with the drive, was forced to punt. Then Eric McGar with a big play. Not only did he get field position back, he certainly got momentum going on Richland's side. Right after the punt return, they were able to convert that opportunity into points. Rance Reed with a 1-yard run in the second quarter to go 7-3 Richland. And then on a 4th down play with only 10 seconds left in the half and almost a 5-minute drive, Todd, to not only run the clock out with the half running down, but get some points on the board. And start at the bottom of this stats number. The time of possession for Richland is just huge.
Yeah, the time of possession on those last 2 drives and the yardage, you see better than a 2-to-1 ratio in both total yards and time of possession for Richland. And as a result, they have the lead over Kentwood at halftime by a score of 14-3. The Conquerors are back out on the field. The Richland Bombers getting set to return. We'll have the second half of the 4A championship game after this timeout. Welcome back to the Tacoma Dome. Just about ready to start the second half of play in this 4A championship game. Let's go downstairs to Tom Glasgow with Kentwood head coach Tom Ingalls.
Todd, thanks. Coach, talk about the adjustments that you made at halftime and what you told your kids as far as keeping the spirits up coming out for the third quarter. A lot of football still to be played.
Yeah, I think that we tried to be really positive, and we tried to talk about some of the things, little adjustments we think that we can make in the offensive line to open up some of our running game. And we told them we're going to have to loosen up and maybe throw the ball a little bit more here in the second half. Defensively, I thought they had a real good scheme. They caught us out in the flat a couple of times, kind of naked, and and really capitalized on it. And, we got to be a little more opportunistic and get back these points.
All right, we'll have fun in the second half, Coach.
Thanks
we appreciate it. Todd, back to you.
Thanks very much, Tom. The Bombers leading it by a 14-3 score. Kentwood will have the ball to start the second half of play as you look over at the Conqueror sideline. Kentwood got on the board first in the ball game, but they have not done a whole lot through the first half. And they'd like to just get down the field a few more times, I think, Chuck.
Well, they've only had the ball a little over 5 minutes. You can see -2, 8, -1, 9. Kind of hard to score any points when you're not going forward with the football.
And they're talking about passing more, and Bonnell was only 1 out of 5 in the first half for a total of 9 yards.
Well, we talked about Richland's balance, too. Their 37 offensive plays, they threw 16 passes. So Kentwood defense not knowing whether the defense run or pass. Richland, conversely, really only having to focus on stopping the run.
Oakes was 7 of 15 passing for Richland. You saw him a moment ago. He had 1 interception.
I think what Richland wanted to do was force Kentwood into a situation where they'd have to throw the ball more. It's not what they do best. Sophomore quarterback, only 1,100 yards through 13 football games in the air.
Dovali set to kick off and bounces another one off the turf, and it goes by John Jones. It's still a live ball. He'll have to pick it up. It didn't get to the end zone. Now he's really flirting with danger. Gets help on a block. Breaks a couple more tackles and gets to the sideline. Dovali will wrap him up and get some help. But Jones was flirting with a potential safety or being stopped inside the one. And all of a sudden, he broke into the clear.
Kind of all or nothing. Oftentimes, you'll see big plays come out of situations like that because the coverage people come down and kind of start to let up. They think they've got something going, and then all of a sudden, the guy pops it, and there's nobody left. Jones, good job of keeping his composure. Didn't hit the panic button. Got a nice block at the goal line, broke a couple tackles, and then got upfield. You see a little bit of the wheels, a little bit of the quickness, that knee that kept him out of a lot of last week's action. Feeling a little bit better. So's Tom Ingles. He had his heart in his throat there for a minute.
And he's able to call a little bit more aggressive play here, and Gardenhire carrying on first down. Gardenhire had hobbled off the field in the first half, so good to see him back healthy, and he has enough to pick up a first down on the first play. So some adjustments in the offensive line paying off on the first play from scrimmage.
Gardenhire's only 3 carries in the first half, 10 yards total rushing. Doubled it already.
And somebody back late from the locker room. It's Kafensis who sprints onto the field. I think they were playing with 10 guys on the last play from scrimmage. Gardenhire carries through the hole. There's Kafensis to meet him this time out at midfield. The coaches from Richland all looked down the sideline, and they were busy pointing at Kafensis, who was sprinting from off the sideline and had readjusted his equipment and came back out onto the field.
He's going to have to readjust his equipment too. He took a shot right there. Only 10 guys on the field. He can come off the sidelines on defense. Last night we had a penalty called when a guy came off the sidelines on offense and didn't make it into the huddle. Defensively, you can do that.
Maybe that radio guy that caught Lonnie Pearson caught Kafensis on the way back to the field, and he missed the start of the third quarter. Straight ahead dive for Luke Hetherington. He'll be stopped short of the first down. Derek Mitchell, Ryan Richardson on the stop for the Richland Bombers, and it'll be 3rd and a yard to go for Kentwood.
Well, Kentwood coming out doing what they like to do, and that's just power football. Nothing fancy. See Ryan Richardson, one of the guys that got clocked on the kickoff coverage.
It looks like Rance Reed is shaken up. You see Kentwood waiting to convert its first 3rd down. Bonnell missing the read again and nowhere to go, and he'll be stopped short once again. Just to go back, Rance Reed appeared to be shaken up, maybe cramping a little bit after the kick coverage, but he now is coming off the bench on 4th down.
Great job up front too. Right in there, just no place to go for Carl Bonnell. You see Ryan Brooks making the play inside, getting a lot of time on offense with the injury to Luxon, and a lot of time on defense as well, filling in for the injured all-conference player.
Chuck, the other thing they're doing, they're really forcing upfield and preventing the pitch man as Kentwood goes for it on 4th down. They backed him up on the last play. And they're going to stack this one for a loss. Shooting through Joey Chacon, and he drops Gardenhire. Richland holds, and they'll have the ball in Kentwood territory.
Yeah, 3rd down, backup player makes a play. 4th down, another fill-in for injury makes the play. Chacon Penetration against the running game. No place for Gardenhire to go except for to sit right down. Look at number 11, Phil, right there. Good strong tackle. Gardenhire with his vision downfield. I don't think he even saw Chacon until contact was made. A gamble at midfield for Tom Ingles. Victory at midfield for Richland.
And folks, take a look at center for Richland when we come back, because Ryan Luxon is back out on the field. So evidently they checked him at halftime. He's okay. Flag thrown on this play. Diving attempt by Jeff Stowe. John Jones on the coverage. But Luxon has been evaluated and cleared to play here in the second half. And that's got to be a nice lift for Richland. As you heard Lonnie Pearson coming off the field, he thought that his young man was gone for the rest of the game. Illegal motion called against the Bombers on that play.
There must not be any severe damage. You can see some equipment additions at halftime too. Going to brace that knee. Try to keep it from having too much motion. And when you're a senior, you've got a chance to win a state championship for a school that only won 3 games the year before your junior year. You're going to do everything you can. And at center, you don't have to run a whole lot. It's not like he's got to run any 40-yard dashes. If he can run 2 steps forward or 2 steps back, he can get it done.
Well, Luxon may not have had any motion, but the wide receivers did, and it's a 1st and 15 for the Bombers now. Nearly intercepted, and just as we said in the first half, the guys on the corner, Hetherington and Conwell, are there every time Oaks has tried to make that pass.
We also talked about trying to get outside to get some vision right there. And that is why.
Look at what the Bombers accomplished on their possessions thus far, punting the first couple times, the long interception, and then the 2 scoring drives, which ate up over 9 minutes of clock time.
Well, you get those time of possession numbers adding up. You add up all these types of possessions, and that adds up to 15 and 52 TOP, and that's how you can keep the ball away from those offensive stars of Kentwood.
Oaks rolling and throwing. Open man just overthrows Duvali that time. Had him on a long crossing route, but he had a couple of steps on Ryan Scott. And again, we see the Bombers going more to the passing attack after they had the grinded out success on the ground late in the first half. Downstairs, an update from Tom Glasgow.
Ryan Luxon, here's the situation. Originally, they thought he possibly had torn a knee ligament. Now they're saying a strain. As you guys noted, he has been braced. He will only play offense, no defense the rest of the way.
Defense, you've got to run.
Yeah,
even as a defensive lineman.
Yep. And you've got the danger as a defensive lineman of getting chopped too. So at the center position, as you mentioned, Chuck, able to get away with it there. And more the emotional lift, maybe more than anything else. Completed to Duvali in the flat, and a big close there by Justin Bredengard.
Good job by Bredengard of keeping the play in front of him. Oaks rolling out to get that vision, but coverage downfield, and when you've got 3rd and long, that's why you try to get 3rd and longs. If you're a defense, like you give up 6 yards and you still get the punter on the field.
Oaks set to punt once again. He averaged 44.5 yards on his 2 kicks in the first half. Gets off another beauty, and again tight to the boundary. Jones there inside the 10. Well, he makes the first tackler miss. It's a hallmark of a good return man, but Jeff Stowe able to help wrap him up that time.
Hallmark of a great punter too. 38-yarder right on the boundary at the 10-yard line.
Derek Mitchell helping to wrap him up. Kentwood will have the ball for the 2nd time in the 3rd quarter when we return. Third quarter, Richland leading Kentwood in the 4A championship game. Tom Ingles out talking to his young men in the huddle as he looks to capture his 2nd state championship, doing it with 2 different schools. It was in 1988. Ingles was the head coach at Liberty, a 31-0 victory over the Cheney Blackhawks in the 3A championship game. Actually 2A back then, if you want to really split hairs. He also went to the 2A championship game in 80, lost to Centralia. Ingles starting out as the defensive coordinator at Issaquah, and now in his 9th year as the head coach at Kentwood, his 28th year of high school coaching overall. His team very impressive in the playoffs, beating Mountain View of Vancouver, Wilson of Tacoma, Kamiak and Capital, the defending 3A champion, which moved up in classification this year. They are 1 point, 1 play away from an undefeated season coming into this game as they lost to Kent Lake 15-14 on a 48-yard field goal.
Those kickers will kill you, won't they?
both ways, right?
Live and die.
Before they can make the toss to Gardenhire, they're going to bring it back for the motion.
Kid makes me tired. Running off the sidelines to get the play every time. Tom Ingles is the offensive coordinator as well as head coach. Coaches the inside linebackers on defense. Sending in some fresh legs too. Ryan Scott.
You know, the one thing we've seen, I think, both nights here, Chuck, a lot of the times, maybe more in basketball, when we get to the title game with the TV and everything else around, we see a lot of nervous kids. Both teams, last night and tonight, have had great execution throughout the games and played with poise.
Been great football games. Last night, lots of points scored because of great plays. Same thing tonight, not so many points, but that's because some great defensive plays. And as you see another guy go in motion, and Kentwood adding to the frustration of Tom Ingles by heading the wrong way. But for the most part,
yeah, the Richland guys jumping around on defense, and they force another motion call against Kentwood, I believe. Yes, they call the procedure.
Ryan Scott.
And while we've got a quick second, for those of you sitting at home who are familiar with the Issaquah area and said, hey, that was not Issaquah. All right, you're right, that wasn't Liberty. I knew it wasn't Cheney either because I didn't see any black and red. This is the footage from 1988. Liberty of Issaquah with the victory over the Cheney Blackhawks at 31-0 win. And our gnomes in the archives now have their footage properly selected, and we've got the right flashback to show you all. So you got 2 flashbacks for the price of 1 that time as Kearney carries up the middle.
Your choices offensively are awfully limited back inside your own 5-yard line. Even in a long yardage situation with 1st and 20, you get a nice gain off the goal line, but you're still now in a 3rd and long situation.
Kearney, who's been hampered a little bit with bronchitis during the week, didn't get to practice very much.
Well, this time of year, that's almost not practicing might be a good thing. These kids got to get beat up, as physical as he is.
Little stack set. Now motion by Jones. Blitz coming on Baumel, but he gets it away. Jones open, makes the catch over the 40-yard line. A fine individual effort as he beat David Hall. What a throw. Yeah, now he's sprinting real fast to the sidelines this time. First completion of the game for the sophomore quarterback.
You get that 3rd and long situation, obviously a passing situation. You get the deep drop back, but a nice job of pass protection. Gave time to go downfield. Richland kind of in a nickel situation. Hall, an extra DB, closed on the play, but didn't close on the ball. And you see the athleticism of Jones making the adjustment. Big 3rd down conversion off their own goal line.
How big a play was that? They had 61 yards of offense in the first half. That pass went for 35, and now Hetherington will get about 13 or 14 more and another 1st down.
You get that momentum. That's such a funny thing in high school football. It's a one-play phenomena. Hetherington got outside, got a good block from Kearney. There's a surprise on the kick out. Kearney going to lead block right there, kick out on Hall outside, and then it's just open territory.
Yeah, not only does that pendulum swing at this level, it swings real fast sometimes. Kearney through the middle. Good trap blocking there. He's brought down by Kevin Neal. You know, one of the hallmarks of a tough runner is whether they have negative rushing yardage at all. Pat Conniff for the Huskies all season never lost a yard from scrimmage rushing. Mike Kearney lost 2 yards rushing all season long.
That's awfully impressive. 113 carries. Only a couple of them going backwards.
An average better than 7 a carry for the season.
That's a big number for a fullback.
Picked up 6 on that last one. Again, Richland starting to open some gaps, run some stunts. Pitch outside this time for Gardenhire. And up to say hello, Landon Kafensis.
Great job by Kafensis of getting upfield and a great pursuit angle. The runner on his inside shoulder, make him cut it back. Gardenhire couldn't make the cut. Kafensis doing a great job on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Look at this poor guy. Not only does he not have a decal, or any awards. He doesn't even get a Bombers.
Probably had to custom order the helmet, right? So when you move up and you're an upperclassman, you get one with the decal on.
That's why Kofensis was late. He had to give up his decal.
Bonnell looking long again. Scramble and incomplete through the hands of brother Ray. Double covered by Magera and Kofensis.
Nice job by Ray Bonnell of getting both hands on the football. Had a chance to haul that in despite the double coverage. Little brother put it up in play. Big brother at 6'2". Had the opportunity right there, and Magera came in late and might have knocked it out of Ray Bonnell's hands.
Interesting, they went for that play on the 3rd and long situation, and now faced with a 4th, and they need to get it inside the 34-yard line, almost to the 33.
Inside the 40-yard line, a punt going to pick you up 20 yards or so anyway. Trying to make something happen is Tom Ingalls.
With time, throwing for the corner for Jones. He got space but can't get to the ball. Made sure that he kind of pinned Magera back a little bit to open the cushion, and then couldn't get back into high gear again to get to the ball.
Little bumping at about the 15-yard line to slow the other guy down, and then, as you said, he couldn't downshift and get to the goal line where the football was coming down. Again, though, good protection in a long yardage situation. You see the backs both stay in. Just a drop back and heave type of play. There's the bump and the acceleration.
And he really initiated that contact, Chuck.
Just a yard short. He slowed himself down a little bit as well as Magera. Second time tonight, a 4th down at midfield doesn't work.
And we'll see what the Bombers go with, if they try to get that momentum back their direction in a hurry or not. Kofensis, the motion man. Ball bobbled by Oaks, still gets the pitch away, but Kentwood able to get there to the point of attack before Michael Richardson could.
It's not a good play.
They're not real subtle with when they put Kofensis out to the side. It's pretty well gone to that side so far.
Yeah, well, poor Adam Oaks drops the snap, makes something happen, and what you don't see is William Conwell just keisters him out there, and poor Michael Ray Richardson has just kind of hung out to dry out there and did a great job of just getting it anywhere near the line of scrimmage, limiting it to a loss of 1.
That was a little hot potato pitch. I get rid of it, maybe I won't get hit. Still got some.
Let him take the hit.
Again on the rollout, good coverage by Kentwood this time. Now flipping, batted away, held it out a little long that time, and Ryan Scott was able to step in front of the pass intended for Magera.
Exactly, waited way too long. Had the volley right in front of him, and Mackay, see, he's open now. Throw it, throw it. He waited too long, and then you've got to throw it wide. You see the closability.
As those dome breezes
Ryan
put
Scott.
that curve on
That's right. Somebody opened the door. That ball should have been thrown about 3 steps earlier out to the boundary. Let Magera chase it down.
And he's shown he's got the hands and the ability to run those sideline routes. Stowe isolated at the top of the screen. Good 3rd down conversions thus far tonight for the Bombers. Oaks looking long, tapped and incomplete. Good jump that time by Jones as he tried to air it out over him and drop it in, but he underthrew just enough and allowed Jones to close. Magera was open.
You've got to throw it down the field a little bit on the 3rd and 11 situation. Again, the rollout, though, gave him lots of time. Did a great job of getting behind the corner and outside the safety.
He really
Ball
tried to
didn't get there.
Just to put the touch on it that time, though, you could see with the delivery. Oaks set to kick once again. Scoreless 3rd quarter. This a much shorter punt. The up man nearly has it hit him on the foot blocking. That was Bredengert who nearly got in the way of the punt. That would have been a critical turnover. Kevin Neal will down it just inside the 20-yard line. 41-yard punt with the extra bounce. The defenses have dominated thus far in the 3rd quarter. Still 14-3 Richland. Tucci, DeSales, Okanagan, Meridian, and Prosser have taken home the championship trophies. Richland and Kentwood vying for the 6th and final one in 1999's Gridiron Classic.
Throughout the state of Washington. WIAA to dismiss the spectators of the state ball.
Carl Bonnell and the Kentwood Conquerors back out on the field once again. Elsewhere, Kearney's jersey looks like it's getting dirty indoors on artificial turf. Look to throw underneath, now throws to the outside, open man, and caught there by Jason Pettit. David Hall had to come over and make the grab, and all of a sudden the long bombs are going for the Conquerors. 35 yards on that one.
Again, good protection, just a straight drop back. Nice job by Gardenhire. I think that little pump fake helped a little bit. Everybody kind of bit on that, and Hall got bit and got beat.
Pettit running diagonally from clear across the field that time.
You get that time, that's when you can run those long routes.
Batted at the line of scrimmage. Ryan Brooks with some pressure. Joey Chacon was also upfield for the Bombers.
Brooks making a lot of plays, filling in for Ryan Luxon.
Good size too at 6'6", 290.
And Chacon both doing a great job on defense. He's obviously done some good all year long and get those stickers.
Kentwood looking for its first touchdown. Ball bobbled. It's loose and Richland falls on it. Never really got to the hands that time of Carl Bonnell, and it's Brooks coming up with the ball for the Bombers. That one really hurts after you get a successful big play to give up the ball and the momentum like that.
Well, you have had so few big plays. You had a couple and you haven't been able to do anything with them here in the second half, and Ryan Brooks is the right man at the right time in the right place. Kevin McCarthy and Carl Bonnell just something not working. Field position now for Richland. 2 minutes plus remaining in the third quarter, and they've got field position trying to turn into a 3-score game.
They're trying to go back to the air again. Nearly intercepted by Jones. He had good inside position on Jeff Stowe, and Stowe was never able to make that step back in to go for the ball.
Yeah, second time tonight too. Richland has tried to strike quickly after their own big play and go downfield.
Does seem a little curious, doesn't it? The most success the Bombers had in the first half was when they went to the ground, when they ate some clock time up. Still mixed the pass in, but they've tried to go longer routes here in the third quarter and been unsuccessful.
Haven't seen a lot of Michael Richardson carrying the football in the third quarter.
Maybe a broken play there as Oakes gets wrestled down by Luke Hetherington. He turned around and appeared to be looking for someone and had no help.
You got guys going one way and the ball, everybody's going one way and the ball doesn't go that way. It's going to turn into trouble. You can see everybody's going to try to go this way except for the footballs right here. Just nobody helping. Oops.
They had both backs in to block, it looked like, too. Richardson going up the field, and so a third and long situation again for the Bombers. Gonna have to give the defensive coordinators credit for their halftime adjustments. They've shut one another down here in the third quarter. Richardson on the toss. Covered nicely by Kentwood. He keeps his balance and gets a good gain out of it, but the Conquerors had kept him pretty well bottled. Bredengard bringing him down, along with some help from Tim Wright, who's a bit slow to get up for Kentwood.
Nice job of Richardson of getting some of that field position back. You don't get a good gain unless you have some good blocks. Take a look at number 61, Lance Ray. Drives his man all the way down the field, and Richardson just going to ride him behind. Took him so far he's out of the camera range. Just absolutely took Luke Hetherington for a ride down the field. Give some credit to the big guys up front, not just the little numbers carrying the football.
Oakes, who's been busier punting than anything else this quarter, gets another one away. High bounce, and they'll have to back away from it. It'll roll out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. So effective punting there by Oakes. and the ball will belong to Kentwood in the closing seconds of the third quarter of play.
He's done a great job punting the football tonight. Again, yards very good, well over 40 yards per punt. Doing a great job at getting it on the sideline. Kentwood's got some dangerous return people in Jones and Scott. They're not getting a chance to do much for Tom Ingalls.
As the Conqueror offense comes out on the field, a reminder, weeknights at 7, it's Northwest Sports Tonight. Preps, college, pros, the NBA, the Pac-10, the Prep Performer each Wednesday night, much more. Northwest Sports Tonight, weeknights at 7 on Fox Sports Net. From the 8-yard line, the Conquerors trying to get something going. A little inside reverse with Jason Pettit, and he'll get enough for the first down out near the 20-yard line. Almost looked like a little wing T-ball right there.
Trying to get more people involved as well as Pettit gets his first touch of the evening. They're trying to get outside. They've done a great job getting off their own goal line, has Kentwood with their possessions in the second half. Just what happens out around midfield that's caused them difficulty.
Kafensis coming up to make that stop along with Brian Hodgson. And they get the snap off just before the end of the quarter. John Gardenhire carrying. He'll get 2 or 3 and bring the third quarter to a close. Goose eggs for both teams in the third quarter. 12 minutes left to play. Kentwood still looking for its first state title. Richland trying to get the crown for the first time since 1981. The fourth quarter comes your way after this. The start of the fourth quarter of the 4A championship game from Tacoma. The Kentwood Conquerors pitch it to John Gardenhire. He gets a couple of blocks. Run out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. A big tackle by Kafensis. Boy, for a minute I thought somebody was coming after Kafensis for the hit. They were just trying to pump Gardenhire up after the big run.
That's a great run by Gardenhire. Watch him set up the lead block from Carney right here. I'm going outside, I'm going outside, I'm going outside. No, I'm cutting it back inside. Now I'm cutting it outside. Great vision, great setup of the blocks, great use of the blocks. Good toughness. Close-up look on the underside of the bench right there, counting gum wads underneath.
Takes it all the way to the 42 and another first down for Kentwood. They got a field goal 8.5 minutes into the game from Justin Hughes. They have not threatened since. Little pitch for Hetherington. That's a nice job by McGarrett of staying home right there.
Held his ground.
And a little
against the
chatter.
30-pound heavier man. Did the smart thing and took him low. McGarrett making a lot of plays both sides of the ball.
You mentioned it last night as we saw McGarrett. He's one of those guys that at 5'7", 160 is probably playing his final game of organized football tonight.
Well, it's just obviously there's not a lot of places to play full contact football when you get out of high school. These guys are getting some extra games by making it to the championship. This is a big moment in their lives, something they'll remember forever.
Gardenhire tried to cut back. It's a nice job coming in that time by Brian Fitzpatrick.
Nice job of Fitzpatrick of getting off the block right there. That was it. Stood his ground, shucked the blocker, made the tackle. He's kind of the only guy there, too. There was lots of room right, lots of room left. Fitzpatrick in the middle.
Gardenhire just hoping to pop one right here for the Conquerors. Tiptoes through, and there he goes. They over-pursued, and Gardenhire's going to get the touchdown, 52 yards. And we have a ball game with better than 10 minutes to go.
You ordered the pop. You ordered the pop, but Gardenhire brought it out of the cooler. Extremely well blocked. A 3rd and 5 situation, probably a running situation for Kentwood. Richland tries to fill gaps, but the gaps just get sealed. Carney with the big kick out right there, makes the pile. Downfield blocking is what makes it happen. Jason Pettit with the downfield block. Gardenhire winning the gold medal then in the foot race.
That run equals their entire rushing output from the first half, and obviously trailing by 5, they will go for 2 here to give them the possibility of perhaps tying the game up later with a field goal.
Gardenhire finally starting to get some stride in the second half. A couple of 20-yard type runs, and then the big one there.
Gardenhire cuts it back inside behind Kearney and is there. It's like watching the old Raider team. Everything's going to the left side time and time again.
They're doing a great job of sealing off inside, too. When you get Kearney with the lead block outside and Gardenhire with the football, no inside pursuit. That equals points for Kentwood.
They're suddenly cheering again on the far side of the field as Kentwood is within 3. They're fired up on the Kentwood sidelines as they get their first touchdown of the game. First touchdown ever for a Conqueror team in a championship game. Justin Hughes set to kick off. Jeff Stowe, the deep man for Richland. Stowe will take this one at about the 7. Trying to get to the corner. Can't get there, and he's snowed under by Kentwood players. Ian Thorset, Brian Partridge leading the tacklers, and Stowe remains down. I think he might have just gotten the wind knocked out of him a little bit. No, he's holding a hand, too, as he gets up. And for one of the more talented receivers on the Richland sideline, that is not a good omen either, as they try to maintain this lead with still 10-plus minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Bombers at 58% on their third down conversions. Adam Oakes, as Chuck mentioned before, distributing it. Richardson closing in on 100 yards, but Kentwood has the momentum after that big running play. Officials have called for timeout on the field, and they're conferring, and there's going to be a flag thrown. No, they reach for the back pocket. Let's see. I think they're wondering whether or not we're in a break, whether or not we've taken a timeout. That may be the conference. Let's see. No. The phones are out on the Kentwood sign from the coaches to the upstairs coaches is the information that we've received.
The standard operating procedure in a case like this, if one sideline's phone don't work, then both teams turn theirs off to offer no advantage.
Let's go downstairs. Tom Glasgow with news.
Yeah, Todd, that's the situation, is the headphones on the Kentwood sideline are not functional, at least in terms of the defensive coaches. So that's the situation they're trying to rectify right now.
Thanks to guys who were trying to use your wireless microphone last night, Tom, but I'm not sure. Thanks.
The Tacoma Dome's not that big. They might just be able to holler down.
Check the batteries. They may just need to get them changed.
The guys in the booth can just yell, "Safety blitz!"
So the Richland coaches all taking their headsets off right now. The great equalizer, and finally we have everything straightened out. And the fans on their feet on the far side. The Conquerors right back in this one. Richardson to the left side. Boy, Richland has not done much offensively in the second half. Tom Ingles talked about making some defensive adjustments, and his crew has done them.
They've also, on Richland's side, been very aggressive on offense. Not tried to run the ball quite so much. Mike Richardson, not many yards in that third quarter. We saw 86.
Yeah, 9 as a matter of fact.
86 at the end of the quarter, only 9 in the quarter.
Richardson trying to turn the corner, has to cut it underneath, keeps his legs going, and picks up a couple of extra yards. Luke Hetherington on the stop, but the Kentwood guys getting an extra spring in their step. They're bouncing up from tackles and trying to pump up and wave to the crowd. They're on an emotional ride right now.
They know that they're back in this ball game, only one play away from taking the lead, either offensively or defensively. They've got guys on defense that can score. They've also got some big guys up front like Carlton Johnson. The big third down play here for Kentwood's defense. If they want to keep that mo rolling strong their way, Defense needs to make a play here.
The heat and the fatigue takes a toll on these youngsters in the fourth quarter. Oaks throwing for Kefensis. The guy who was big last week does it again, just over midfield before he's brought down. Brettengerd combining with Tim Wright and Brian Scott. But Kefensis, a key receiver out of the backfield throughout the season, is the go-to guy when they really need to convert one.
Well, you see what they can do, too, with Kefensis. He gets over to the left side here, and the play action keeps Tim Wright in the middle, and Kefensis just goes out in the flat, and Tim Wright is 3-4 steps late getting out there.
High percentage pass for Oaks to throw, too.
Well, it's tough for Wright to play defense on, because he's got to respect the play fake to Michael Richardson.
Those were the types of passes that keyed the Richland drives in the second quarter, which gave them the lead. Richardson to the left side. Stutter steps trying to find a hole. Michael Griffith on the stop, but he picks up 4 or 5.
And that's why he's got to respect that handoff to Michael Richardson, because that's the same action as the last play with Kefensis offset in the fullback type position. This time the ball does get handed to the I-back.
The Bombers also trying to get not only points on the board, but time off the clock. Downstairs, Tom Glasgow has news for us.
Jeff Stowe, wide receiver for Richland, on the bench with a sprained right wrist. He is expected to return.
Thank you very much, Tom. Quick drop, batted, caught by McGarrah. Looked as though that one was partially deflected by Conwell, and McGarrah hauls it in. Good concentration. They're going to spot him just short. Nope, they'll bring the sticks in now as they step away from the ball. They will have to measure.
Chad Jones has been a busy man in that secondary tonight. Richland in the mid-20s now with passing attempts, and a lot of them directed over at number 1. Made a lot of good plays.
Foot and a half or so. Irresistible force versus immovable object on both sides of the ball tonight. And as we said before, it's been the immovable object guys in the second half, particularly the defensive sides, who have had the better part of the play. Lonnie Pearson waiting for his team to try to convert. There you see Kentwood now enjoying the total yardage advantage following their last couple of drives. Richland averages 279 a game of total offense, so they're closing in on their mark. But both these defenses, from a scoring standpoint, have shut the high-flying offenses down. Oaks with the keeper to pick up another first down.
A 262 number after only having 61 yards at halftime. 201 yards
for Kentwood
in a quarter and a half for Kentwood. I'd say that's kind of a resurgence of offense.
A couple of those long bombs. And that really was a bend but not break situation on those for Richland. They failed the fourth down conversion.
Then you get a 52-yard run. Adds up in a hurry also.
Yep, got one to break all the way to get their points. Oaks taking his time. The coach is telling him to hurry now as they were running out of time. Quick slant completed, and breaking a couple of tackles, Jeremy Bohannon, who's in now, spelling the injured Stowe at that wide receiver spot.
It's a nice gain. You throw the ball on first down and you get yards out of it. You get the completion to keep the clock running. Also, you keep that defense guessing with those third down or first down passes. Just a quick drop and throw. Quick out route against the corners again, playing 8-10 yards off in coverage. Not a difficult throw with the ball in the right hash. Just throw it to the right sideline. Ball's not in the air very long.
And of course, a little pump fake is still available on some of those as well. Richardson in motion. Kefensis breaks a tackle. Outside, gets him walled off. Around the corner, the second half hero a week ago is run in, no. Touchdown. They waited for a minute. I thought they were going to spot him out at the 1, but Kefensis, with 2 receiving TDs last week, runs it in from 34 yards out to extend Richland's lead.
Richardson in motion draws the linebacker away, and then it's just the inside handoff. You pop that line of scrimmage, and then the nice cut and poor pursuit angles from the outside guys for Kentwood, and then Kafensis showing good speed to outrun everybody to the corner, and he gets it inside the corner. You see right there that the little wiggle on that left foot got it inside the blue.
Yep, kept waiting, and the funny part was the official came running to the sideline as if he were going to mark him out of bounds, and then put both hands up in the air for the touchdown.
He had to get to the scene of the crime to,
I guess,
make the decision.
Long deliberation here at the line of scrimmage. As the official had stuck his head in, the Bombers electing to go for one to make it a 10-point lead. Dovali, and pops it through. Well, just when we said the Bombers weren't doing much offensively in the second half, they come up with a couple of big plays. A reception by Kafensis, a 34-yard touchdown run by Kafensis. The Bombers lead by 10. Richland answers the touchdown run of Gardenhire with a 34-yard run by Kafensis and puts the lead back up to 10. Scoreless third quarter. Each team with a touchdown now in the fourth. Line drive fielded by Jason Pettit. Good run back out over the 40-yard line. Tyson Roberts and Matt Weiser on the tackle for Richland.
That kick on the ground is designed not to give up field position like that. Got to get that ball past that first wave of up blockers and back to the deep receivers.
Get a little more tumble on the ball too.
You got to find a hole, find a gap, and get it downfield a little bit more.
So again, the Conquerors asked to rally, and doing with seconds starting to tick away from them. Bonnell with plenty of protection, looking again to go deep and off the fingertips of Pettit. He wants a flag that time. The coverage by Josh Artis, who's in the secondary now at the corner position.
You see the step by Pettit and the good throw from Bonnell.
Not much reason for any kind of argument there. No, sir. You had your hands on the ball first, I'm afraid. Tom Ingles told us he didn't want Bonnell to have to throw a lot and make the decisions, but his passes have been pretty strong in the game. Gardenhire breaking through the interference again. Gets a good downfield block. McGarrah misses a tackle. Gardenhire still goes. He'll be down inside the 20 before he's wrestled down by Brian Hodgson. A nice job of just reacting back that time for a 39-yard gain.
Gardenhire showing you again what big plays he can make. And Joey Chacon had the early chance to make the play right there for the loss, and just again the pursuit angles just kind of too far outside, and Gardenhire with the read and the speed. McGarrett again tries to go low, and it didn't work this time.
And give his backside guys some credit, because they could have just made a couple steps and bailed out of the play. They kept their blocks when they saw him coming back. Gardenhire taking a breather. That's over 60 yards just on the 2 carries. Looking for Jones in the end zone. He tries to run to the ball, and it's incomplete. Jeremy Bohannon covering, and Jones was kind of in need of a GPS device that time to find that pass, because it wasn't where he expected it.
Crossing route with Jones and Ryan Scott, but both from that left side. Bonnell chose to go to the wide guy, and Jones couldn't quite make the play. See Kentwood, though, again through the air trying to make things happen. Lots of big plays in the second half. It's like the dam broke open.
Ryan Richardson coming in on the defensive line as Richland pulls Derek Mitchell, a backer, out on 2nd and 10. Backside pressure on Bonnell. He beats it again, throws it up for grabs. Touchdown! Ryan Scott was open in the back of the end zone, and a missed cover that time. Bohannon got beat, and Scott was able to wait for the ball and the score.
Bohannon in good position, then with the ball in the air, just kind of got turned around and was trying to play the man and couldn't find the ball. Ryan Scott again at 6'3", able to make plays well off the ground. The rollout, both backs stay in time, and the throw to beat the backside pressure. You see Bohannon just stopped around the goal line and lost track of Ryan Scott behind him.
And the point after added. Justin Hughes with the PAT. The defenses are losing ground here. We get 2 scores a minute and 5 seconds apart.
Guys might be getting a little pooped on defense too. Fatigue setting in a little bit. You're that half step late to try to make the tackle or in the coverage. Nice job, Carl Bonnell, of throwing this ball before the pressure from Kevin Neal could get to him. You see Ellington starting to go back, but he couldn't. The ball just in the air. Bohannon, for some reason, stopped at the goal line. Scott drifted to the back. That's where the football was.
And according to the stats, I want to double check, that's Scott's first touchdown catch of the season. That's hard to believe.
Has 4 touchdowns via return. You've got Bonnell had only thrown 6 touchdowns coming in.
Yeah, he's their leading receiver coming in at better than 20 per catch, 18 for 362 yards. But that is his first touchdown reception of the year, coming in the state championship game to keep the Conqueror hopes alive.
Richland certainly has the capability of a ball control type drive. 4:34 remaining. You know, Kentwood on defense is going to try to stop the run. They've got to start thinking about the clock a little bit defensively. They've got to get that ball back.
Keep in mind, Stowe out with the injured hand. This is Kafensis returning the kick this time. He'll be wrapped up at the 20-yard line. Stood up originally by Chris Bracelet and then dropped by Ian Thorsett. So is Stowe, the leading receiver, out as well. Kafensis, who got the touchdown run, will lead the Bombers back out. They are in their end of the field, and as you mentioned, want to burn time perhaps more than anything else. They'd love to ride the clock out.
In order to do that, they've got to get first downs, obviously.
Your home for Northwest Prep Sports, the Oregon Class 4A Championships next Saturday at noon from Civic Stadium in Portland. We'll have that as our continuing high school football coverage comes your way next weekend here on Fox Sports Net. Richardson thought he was in the clear, slamming the ball down to the turf in frustration as he was tripped up by Aaron Molson.
This is where your senior quarterback, Adam Oakes, too, gets in the huddle and tells his guys, there's 4.5 minutes to go. This is championship season right here. If we can get 4 or 5 first downs, we can take a trophy back home. A lot of hard work, spring, summer, years of football. This is where you need to suck it up and make 6 or 8 good plays.
Richardson to the right side once again. He'll get 2 or 3 more, but it's going to be a 3rd and long situation for the Bombers. Time called down on the field, and Kearney sitting down on the turf. Timeout called by Kentwood. So Tom Ingles, who has used all of his timeouts on defense tonight, uses his first of the second half.
We said Kentwood was going to have to start thinking clock on defense. You can see coaches challenging in that Kentwood huddle, and Tom Ingles thinking ahead, thinking strategy. When we get the ball back, what are we going to do with it?
Just under 4 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. We'll be back in Tacoma after this. Back in Tacoma, 3rd and 4 for Richland. 3:40 left in the 4th quarter. Kentwood trying to come up with its defensive stuff after giving the players a little R&R with the timeout call. Play action. Oakes to Kafensis, first down. They go to the same play again to the well, and he's out to the 40 and another first down. They isolate him on a backer.
They've done a great job on 3rd down conversions, and often with that play, you've got Kafensis with the speed on the inside guy. It's basically a foot race from an inside player with Kafensis. Kafensis usually wins that one. William Conwell trailing the play a little bit again because of the inside run action that he's got to stay in and pay attention to.
Richardson in motion. Kafensis bouncing off of tacklers, gets a yard or so.
Brought down by number 54, Michael Griffin. Number 3, Luke Henry.
Richland not in any hurry to make anything happen. Somebody's got a stopwatch paying attention, counting down that play clock. There are not any visible play clocks like in college and NFL stadiums at each end of the field.
Carney trying to rally the troops from his linebacker position. Conquerors stunting a bit. Richardson, Kafensis with a lead block for him, but he can't get free. And he's swarmed under about 5-6 Kentwood jerseys there this time. And another 3rd and long situation for Richland.
The number 3 and 4 tackler in. Got to think about tearing that football out too. Once that offensive player is under control, his 2nd, 3rd defenders have got to try to get the ball out.
Timeout has been taken again by Kentwood, their 2nd of 3. And I think this time when the coach is getting them rallied, he will mention to keep an eye on Kafensis. It's just a
big 8.
Just a thought.
Got that 8 on it. Look at number 8. Look too in that Richland huddle how tired and worn out these kids are. Lots of helmets coming off, water getting squirted, hands on knees. Adam Oakes, a lot of thinking going on inside that helmet right now.
Bombers with their 4th appearance in the championship game. They lost to Foss in 1975, 17-7, beat Kentridge in 81-76. Lonnie Pearson was an assistant coach then for J.D. Covington. They made it here in 96, but lost to Curtis 34-15. Their 2nd appearance in 4 years, and they'll try to square things up overall in championship games. They're what we were talking about, and as we mentioned also in 1975, they lost to Foss by a 17-7 margin. So their 4th appearance in a championship game, and they need to get it right to midfield now if they're going to keep this drive alive. Plenty of time for Oakes. They've got 2 guys on Kafensis. Now he throws long. He beat the coverage again. Incomplete, they say. He did not get the foot down. They had 2 men on him, and all of a sudden you think he's covered, and he got free a 2nd time.
Kind of turned his
flag thrown late back in the backfield after the play. Sorry, Chuck.
Oakes, you can see the throw down the sideline. The toe clearly on the white line. Nice call by the official. Another call by the official, though, maybe even more important over this. Flag thrown over where you get a roughing the passer type of call.
Unless, I'm trying to see, Oakes was flirting with the line of scrimmage. I didn't see the preliminary. Whether it was roughing or whether he had gone past the line of scrimmage, because he was very close on that sprint out. It's roughing the passer against Kentwood, and it'll be a 1st down for Richland.
Kids trying to make plays, enthusiasm crosses over the line into poor judgment. Tom Ingles' defense makes a play on 3rd down.
You can see he's asking who was it on. That's a big play right there.
Mike Carney, your all-state player, trying to make something happen and got a little over-exuberant.
So Kentwood will have to do it again. They're down to 1 timeout.
Exactly. Only 2:27 to go. Gonna run out of time even if they don't get a 1st down.
Richardson steps to the corner. This could be close to another 1st down. Big roar down underneath us from the Bomber fans, and there are quite a few of them you see in their green and gold turning out. They made the trip over, and they're about ready to let loose as they watch the clock continue to count and reach the 2-minute mark in the 4th quarter.
Michael Richardson carrying the load now in this 4th quarter. 30 carries a week ago. He's heading that way here tonight.
Got a touchdown run in the first quarter last week against Bethel. Oaks keeping for the first down. By the time they unpile, they'll be inside a minute and a half. And Kentwood is going to use the last timeout right here.
Clock stopped with the first down anyway, but they're electing not to even give up any seconds with the restart.
Although by the time, if you run around a little bit, here spot the ball, that may be it. They may not even have to get another first down in the ball game. Lonnie Pearson talking with the officials. It all started with a field goal for Hughes, a 35-yarder early in the game. Kentwood took its only lead of the game at that point. Richland then on a 4-minute drive, highlighted by Reed's dive for the score. Defenses followed with a second score with 10 seconds remaining in the half and made it 14-3 at the intermission. Kentwood trying to come up with an answer, and they got it on one play, Gardenhire's run. They added the 2-point conversion also from Gardenhire early in the fourth quarter. It was a 3-point game. The Bombers, after being bottled up for the entire second half, converted a big pass to Confensis. He followed it with the run, making it 21-11. But the Conquerors came right back one more time. Scott on the catch from Bonnell. That one happening 3 minutes ago. And it made it 21-18. The Bombers may have just done enough with that last first down to close things out. Oaks tucking the ball away this time.
Not taking any chances on any handoff miscues. If we can execute the snap, we can win a state championship now. We're not going to be in any hurry to get up off that pile either.
Exactly. By the time they spot the ball a few times, they may be able on fourth down to even take any in hand Kentwood the ball with scant seconds remaining.
It takes a while for Ryan Luxon to get up to the center with that one leg. He can't bend his left knee. It just takes him a while to kind of festus his way to the upright position.
They'll spread Kentwood out defensively. Richardson, the sole running back. Oaks just keeping again, tucking the ball away, spinning for a couple of yards. And they probably are not going to have to snap the ball on fourth down. One more snap will do it, and Richland will be able to run out the clock. Our Dairy Farmers of Washington player of the game in the 1999 4A championship game. When they needed to get a big play, Landon Confensis was the guy more often than not. 117 yards of total offense for the Richland Bombers tonight and 2 touchdown runs. This will be it, the final play. Oaks into the line one more time. The championship trophy stays in the Big 9 Conference. It was Pasco's a year ago, and this time, what an emotional ending after a season of personal battles for Lonnie Pearson. Back on the sidelines for the championship, and he and his Bombers will take home the trophy with a hard-fought 21-18 win over Kentwood.
Sixteen starters return off of a football team that won only 3 games a year ago.
Which is an aberration for the Richland program, as much tradition as any in the state. Champions in 81, they're champions again in 99. With the coach, here's Tom Glasgow.
Lonnie Pearson, your thoughts. Certainly an emotional evening for you and your team, and it ended just the way you wanted it to.
Well, it did. What an incredible season, and I just give all credit to these kids. They played a very, very good 4A high school football team in Kentwood. They kept coming back and coming back. I just give Kentwood a lot of credit, and my heart goes out to them right now.
You certainly provided inspiration for your team. Ryan Luxon, I think, tonight certainly provided inspiration as well. Didn't look like he was going to play again, but he comes back in the second half.
Well, he wasn't very mobile for defense, but he played offense and played tough. You know, we were a little bit handicapped, but the kids rose up and got the job done.
Well, all your kids did an outstanding job. It really was a pleasure to watch these two teams play tonight. Congratulations, and we'll let you go get that championship trophy.
Thank you. What a great game for the fans, too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. Lonnie Pearson, the winning coach. Richland will take the state championship trophy home.
Thanks very much, Tom Glasgow. In his 12th year as the head coach, Lonnie Pearson is finally the head coach of a state championship team. Back to wrap up the Gridiron Classic after this. The WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Gridiron Classic. Tonight's Class 4A football championship game on Fox Sports Net has been brought to you by Car Toys, the nation's largest independent car stereo and wireless phone dealer. Car Toys, a better way to go. By the Money Tree, your cash solution. And by NorthwestRecruiting.com and WashingtonPrep.com, providing in-depth news, online chats, message boards, expert analysis, and exclusive video highlights, powered by Rivals.com. Richland 21, Kentwood 18. It went down to the wire. Our player of the game is standing by with Tom Glasgow.
Landon Kafensis. Landon, when I grabbed you a few moments ago, I said, you're not smiling. What's going on here?
I'm in shock. I can't smile. I'm too tired, but I'm in shock. But trust me, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. This has been a dream of mine for I don't know how long, and it hasn't sunk in yet. Oh my gosh.
You made some huge plays tonight, but talk about the touchdown run late.
Well, it was a 13 dive. We sent Mike in motion, and they sent a guy out with him, which opened a gap for me, and I just broke it to the outside. We had great blocking, and
Hey, your thoughts? Obviously, very, very emotional night. Coach Pearson back on the sideline. What did that mean to you guys?
Oh, it was great just to have him back. We knew getting to this game, we'd have him back on the sidelines. And to get him this win, oh, man, it feels great.
Go join your teammates. Have fun. Landon Kafensis, MVP tonight. A lot of MVPs on the Richland sideline this evening as they take the 4A state championship.
Thank you very much, Tom. His dad, Mark, his uncles, all part of that Bomber program and much of its success in the past. And the second generation now, Landon Kafensis, will go out and get his touch on the trophy as well as Richland takes it home. Chuck, a big weekend of football, the East Side with 5 out of the 6 state titles. Your final thoughts on the 99 Gridiron Class?
A couple of great games, the last night and then tonight, and for Richland here tonight, what a great story. Again, only won 3 games a year ago. Only could be a dream to make it to the state championship. 13 wins. You've got a coach that misses virtually half of the season. Come back, I guess dreams can and do come true.
Congratulations to all our champs: Touchy, DeSales, Okanagan, Meridian, Prosser, and Richland. For Tom Glasgow and Chuck Nelson, I'm Todd Pickett saying so long from the Tacoma Dome. The final score in the 4A championship: Richland 21, Kentwood 18 as the Bombers take home their second state championship. Next Saturday at noon, the state of Oregon will crown a 4A champion. Be sure to join us for that game here on Fox Sports Net. You've been watching the 1999 Dairy Farmers of Washington WIAA Gridiron Classic, the 4A championship game on Fox Sports Net. Stay tuned. Coming up next, it's Fox Sports News Primetime with a complete wrap of the day in sports. For our entire crew at the Tacoma Dome, thanks for joining us. Until next time, so long, everybody.